All right, let's go. What's good? What's good? What's good? You are tuning to Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man Kill. As always, ladies first. Porsche, what's going on, miss?
Not a whole lot, Kill. How are you?
Hey, everything is good. Everything is good. DJ Rec 1, it's been a minute, man.
Right.
Where you been, man? Everything
Welcome
good?
back.
Yeah, everything is good, man. Happy to be back, man. Happy to be back. Just trying to handle some business. You got to keep your head right. So
No doubt. My brother burned out the ATL, the closer. If you're looking for a crib in ATL, it's the man you need to go see. What's going on with you, Vern?
He is I is him. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Glad to be here, man.
Eddie out of LA. What's going on, Ed?
Yo, I'm doing good, man. Glad to be here.
You and Porsche rocking them twin Linden Boulevard tribe joints. As
we didn't synchronize it like that, you know. We just
same brain.
Yo, and today we got a very special guest. If you have been following me on the timeline, if you've seen any episodes of Apartment 5B recently, my top album of 2021 so far has been 21 Grams. Pete Rock and Amxxr. We got my guy Amxxr chopping it up with us tonight. What's going on, good brother?
Hey man, thank y'all for having me. That's a hell of an intro, man. I'm just gonna say first and foremost, thank you for having me once again. And you know, for picking, you know, what me and Pete put together, man. Like I said, I'm a student of the game, bro. So I think working with him was almost a cheat code as far as sound skills. So we'll get into that though.
No doubt. I got a million questions for you, but as always, y'all know me. If we ever have anybody special on with us, we want to integrate them regularly into the show. My man Neltron the other day posted Bilal's Firstborn Second, and it was like the 20th anniversary. Love that album. And I was sitting there thinking, I said, yo, this might just be my favorite soul album out of Philly. Of course, I'm talking 2000 plus. I'm not talking the Gamble and Huff and all that. I'm talking the neo soul out of all those albums. The cats like Joe Scott. So it just got me thinking of, yo, when you think of a city or borough, what's the first album that comes to mind from that borough or city? So that's what we chopping it up about today. When you hear Brooklyn, what is the first album that comes to mind? When you hear Queens, so on and so forth. Porsche, I heard you got 4,722 albums in the chamber tonight for. So let's go to Brooklyn first.
You're gonna get all of these ties, okay? Like I can't with you.
When you think of Brooklyn, if somebody who didn't know anything about hip hop comes to you and says, "Yo, Brooklyn, what is the first album you think of? Not MC, but album. What's the first album you want them to listen to?"
Ready to Die, but I wanted to I try to be varied with because I'm always talking about the same albums, but obviously there's a reason. So I've got that tied with Light as a Rock because you guys know MC Light is on.
You can only pick one. Nope.
Fine. I'll go with
your one.
Okay, fine.
Stop it.
I'll with Ready to Die.
Thank you, Vern, for the flag on the play real quick. I'm always a bad guy. Like, thank you, Vern. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I got Ready to Die, and I don't want to. I mean, I always talk about this album. We've done episodes about why this album's so dope. It's big. I mean, it's big, and I feel like he is Brooklyn through and through for me. And I think he kind of embodies that, and he reps that hard. And I think Ready to Die is a really good representation of Brooklyn. And I think Brooklyn would be proud of that too. So I'm going with Ready to Die.
All right, no doubt. Amxxr, what you got for Brooklyn?
I'm gonna pivot off of that, but because of my relationship with this guy, man, he's one of my early mentors. First dude to ever take me on tour with him. I was like, teenager. Talk about this might have been like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. AZ, man.
AZ.
Nice.
Okay, Do or Die. Which one? What album?
It's AZ Do or Die, man. And the reason why I picked that album is not just because of, I think he represents a quintessential Brooklyn, New Yorker that wasn't necessarily super duper commercial, but to me, he's a fiber of what a Brooklyn dude is, what an MC from Brooklyn is, and his historical backdrop. He's in a lot of rooms. And one of the first, like I said, one of the first artists to take me on tour with him, bro. And people don't know that about me. It would be disrespectful to my story to not say AZ. AZ was I'm gonna give it to him, Do or Die, bro.
As though one thing I think, and you said it, he was in a lot of rooms. Can't forget AZ was up in there in the Dead President video playing Monopoly with the Real Money with Jenny and Big and them. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know, so cats forget about that. For me, out of Brooklyn, I'm old as hell, so I'm gonna have to pull out Long Live the King. You know what I mean? This was just, I mean, going back to them 12-inch days of Raw, Set It Off. Again, like it was almost like we was talking about Rakim the other week, where it's talking about how can it get any better. I heard Raw, I'm like, yo, this is the craziest shit ever. Then you hear Set It Off, and you're like, God damn, this is the craziest thing ever. And ain't no half stepping, and you know, then this just dropped. So for me, whenever I think of Brooklyn, I'm always thinking of Big Daddy Kane. So I'm going with Long Live the Kane on that. DJ Rec One, what you got for Brooklyn?
That's a dope pick, man. I teetered back and forth between that one and some others. I'm going Reasonable Doubt, man.
Okay.
For me, it was more so the fact that I had no idea the album dropped. The person who gave me the album didn't even like it. And then when I put it in, I never stopped listening to it. You know what I'm saying? So I think from a standpoint of just no one knowing or remembering who he was at the time, and it took, 2 years for that album to pick up steam. It's an album that you could play now and be like, damn, he put this out 25 years ago. Like it still resonates. You know, it was the perfect album for the underdog at that time because it was everything that hip hop was not, and it still was fire.
Right.
You know, so I'm going Reasonable Doubt, man.
All right, Vern, what you got, bro?
Do you understand the meaning of the metaphoric phrase "light as a rock"? Dude, light as a rock. MC Light swinging, 10% diss, paper thin. I cram to understand, and then kick this one for Brooklyn.
Kick this one for the 90s.
Yeah, man. MC Light getting her props from me. I shouted her out today on Twitter, man. So definitely, I would say out of Brooklyn, MC Light as a rock.
No doubt, no doubt. Eddie, rounding us out. Who you got for Queens? I mean, for Brooklyn.
All right. So originally, when I did my list, I was thinking of my favorites. But if you're talking about which one would I put someone onto that represents Brooklyn, I'm gonna go with Smith and Wesson, The Shining. You know what I mean? And you know, you could just take Bucktown alone, and that's a dope anthem for the girl. But you know, the thing I love about that album is just the amount of culture in there. You know what I mean? Because you know, I think they got like some of that West Indian influence that, you know, was very prevalent in many parts of Brooklyn. So, you know what I mean? When I listen to that album, you know, I get that feeling again, you know, of being back in the borough.
Right. All right, no doubt, no doubt. Porsche, we in the Queens now. What you got for Queens?
I got Run DMC, Raising Hell. And the reason for that is Run DMC is the reason why I even know hip hop at all. I think I've told this story on previous episodes. There is no, like, I don't, like, it's part of my story with hip hop because I was from, as I always mention, north of North Dakota in Canada. So hip hop was very, very difficult to come by. And of course, Run DMC I was able to, you know, that was the reach, and I was able to hear them, and that was my first sort of introduction to hip hop. And so for me, that's just a pillar. It's a pillar of not only hip hop but Queens for sure. So that one for me.
All right, no doubt. What's your favorite album out of Queens?
My favorite album out of Queens?
Yeah, your favorite album. Because I know you got 6,432
Yeah, I've got
what, just, you know, what's your favorite?
Cheryl Monch, Internal Affairs is another one.
Right.
I absolutely love that album. Monch is, you guys know, like Monch is an alien with it. Lyrically, he just is the best. Simon Says is still forever going to be my favorite Monch joint. I love it. And I think he's just always been so consistent lyrically. And I'm lyrics over production most of the time. So for me, it's going to be Monch.
All right.
That's
no
my
doubt.
favorite.
Amir, what you got out of Queens? What reps Queens? And then what's your favorite Queens album? Because I know everybody had a hard time putting this list together. So
yes.
I want to try to put, so you get what reps the borough, and then what's your favorite out the borough?
I'm gonna go with for Queens. Matter of fact, shout out to Pharoah Monch. He's from, a lot of people don't know he's from Queens too, which is crazy. I actually met him last week for the first time. That's cool.
Dope.
Nice.
Dope.
But I'm gonna say,
Dope.
yeah, I didn't know the two people in the band is in the group with him. 13, that last album spot. But the Queens for me, it was in it.
It's who?
I know nobody moved on that, and I'm
we
gonna
didn't
tell
hear
you
you.
why.
We didn't
No, we didn't hear
it.
what you say. What you said?
Okay, I'm saying it was for me.
It was
out of
written.
Queens.
I ain't mad at that.
Nah, not at
No
all.
doubt.
Yeah, and I say it was written because I mean, Illmatic is in a different category. So we got to call that that's not even an album. That's a pillar of
Right.
hip hop writing, right? Artistry. It was written, showed us a certain level of evolution. I think his progression from in projects to taking a step out of the projects to opening his eyes to the world outside of that. And I think it showed how other people received them, and like through his lens how he was writing it. I think it was written clever, and it was just the first stage of a mature Nas that we heard was on. It was written, in my opinion, and this is subjective as a writer. And because of also, I guess, like I said, as a kid, shout out to my man Dio and other people was working with him earlier. So I just had I was privy, and I'm gonna say privy and blessed or lucky enough to know some people that worked on some of these early projects, and the stories I heard between Illmatic, it was written, and how things came together, and even just knowing it made me have a more attachment to it, even though I didn't know them, but I knew some of the stories from first person. So to me, it was written because it represents that step off the porch from that initial Illmatic. And you said a group, right?
Well, not your favorite. That's what reps the Queens. But is that your favorite album out of Queens? Like, what's your favorite, just personal favorite album out of Queens?
I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro. I'm still sticking with that.
Nice.
All right, it was written. I can't.
I'm sticking with. I'm gonna stick with that because it was double fold. The blonde, she rocked the blonde Caesar. That shit it was vivid, bro. Like it was. It's quotables on there that stuck to the ribs for years. Like it will forever stand the test of time. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I always tell people, whenever I want to hear some Nas, I always pull. It was written even before Illmatic. You know what I mean? I don't know if that means in my head it's better than Illmatic, but whenever I'm like in the mood for Nas, I'm always gonna pull. It was written before Illmatic, so that's just it. For
Amxxr is absolutely right. The quotables are for days because my favorite quotable in all of music comes from that album. Like all of music, not just hip hop, just entirely. So yes, good point.
No doubt, no doubt. For me, out of Queens, I'm like Porsche, but I'm going with the OG Run DMC. Probably because everything on here was a Hollis crew. When I heard Hollis crew, it was like, yo, where's Hollis? It's like, oh, that's Queens. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And just to me, these dudes were like so synonymous with Queens. It was like Kings from Queens, and from Queens comes Kings. You know what I mean? So this was just, and that's a quote off of Raising Hell. But that's right there. Run DMC just always represented Queens to me. This album, 5 Mic Classic, one of my favorite hip hop albums ever. Like I said, a piece of my foundation in this game. My favorite album out of Queens, and this always shocks everybody, is actually Super Lovacy and Casanova Rudd's Girls I Got 'Em Locked.
Pump it up.
This right here, yo, Girls I Got 'Em Locked. If you've never heard this album, like Fife, another Queens representative, would say, you need to listen to this right, not now, but right now. I'm Bad, Girls Act Stupidly, All You MCs Gets No Deeper, Pump It Back, Girls I Got 'Em Locked, Come and Get Some, Super Casanova, Do the James. If you've never heard Do the James,
bro, James is fine.
You really got to do some homework out there, man. That's going to be your homework for the night. Do the James by Super Lovacy and Casanova Russ. So that's my personal favorite rec. What are you picking out of Queens?
Man, as the Queens kid, I'm going with my guys, man. I had a dream about my man last night. So Busta Rhymes, he came to the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you gotta understand, man. My uncle was a police officer in the 113, so I spent a huge part of my youth outside of Far Rockaway in Jamaica, Queens, man, driving past the cleaners where they filmed the videos at. Like that was a staple, and being able to be around that, man, that's my one regret in life, that I never got to go to a Tribe Called Quest show. That's like I don't have regrets, but if I had one, that's one of them. That's like one of the first ones out my mouth. But Low End Theory for me, like, I'm a Tribe head, so when I heard Low End Theory, it was like, oh shit, this don't sound like Ham and Eggs.
Nope.
This sounds totally different.
Nope.
Now trust me, as a 12-year-old, I fucked with Ham and Eggs. Don't get it twisted. But as a 13, almost 14-year-old, when you start hearing Excursions and Bugging Out, you're like, whoa. Okay, this is a whole different situation. And it wasn't sonically their best album, but to me, this is the one that sticks with me. I can play this for days. So that's the album. If somebody came to me and said, yo, if you're gonna take somebody to Queens or you're gonna take somebody to your grandma's in Far Rockaway, what you gonna play? I'm playing this. As far as you said, favorite Queens album?
Favorite Queens.
Shit. Yeah, for sure. I'm stuck, man.
All right, that's all good.
I'm stuck.
What you got, man?
I forgot. I should have said CNN War Report. My bad.
Nice.
That's it. I mean, shit.
Yeah,
T.O. and
man.
Blood Money. My
You
God.
can't go wrong with that.
Oh
Thing.
man.
I disrespect the CNN. I'm sorry, and I'm a CNN head. I'm sorry.
Yo. T.O.
Nah,
and
yeah.
Blood to
that
this
move-
day,
that move
man.
was crazy.
Blood Money.
You know what, man? The funny thing is, I always talk about how my memories of when I was hanging out in Queens was always, my cousin always bumping the War Report when that came out.
Yes,
That was the soundtrack.
it was.
Yeah.
It was. It was
Alright.
playing everywhere heavy.
Vern, what you got for yours?
Quick question.
What's repping Queens? What you saying, man?
No, sorry, brother. I was just saying, did anybody notice on the War Report, sonically the album was mixed as if they were in Desert Storm. The delays on the record were delayed. Like, remember how when Desert Storm, like I don't remember, but when you watch the
like
news
when the
clips,
TV joints, the news.
it was a delay. So in there mixed the album with the delay, like they was reporting from Saudi Arabia. So that's why they said Channel 10, Channel 10, dun, dun, dun. So all that shit. I sat down one day and I analyzed this shit. I said, yo, this is whoever did this shit is a slept on genius, because the album was mixed like a news reporter with delete all over the entire album. Never gave it that real without echo.
Yeah.
That's dope. Vern, what you got, bro?
All right, so Rick took my first one, but I just go to the second because low end is freshman year at Georgia State. I remember riding the train, listening to that mug on a Walkman, and yeah. But so I'm gonna go my favorite Midnight Marauders. Since Rick took my first favorite.
My bad.
And I shouldn't even have to say why, but okay. But I would say the album that represents Queens to me is the Infamous. It's grimy, gritty, that done language, all that kind of stuff. And they're not even one of my favorite groups per se. But when I think of Queens, it's the Infamous and Mobb Deep.
That's a dope pick right there. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, there's so many pieces you could throw at it, and that's why I love this, because everybody's music, I tell people, it speaks to everybody different. Like, and I mean, low end is Queens, everything we're naming is Queens, and that's the dopest thing about that. All right, so you got Infamous for Queens. What's your favorite though?
No, my favorite is Tribe Midnight Marauders. I mean, they on my wall, all over my wall. But if, like I said, to the quintessential Queens, that coming from Atlanta, we knew New York through videos and stuff. And so that's the snapshot. If I thought of Queen, I mean, well, that side of Queen, Queen's side, because Tribe is the houses and stuff, and Mobb Deep is Queensbridge. So yeah, those are the two that I would pick.
All right, no doubt. Eddie, what you got, bro?
Damn. So Bird kind of got mine to represent one, but if I want to throw another one out there, I'll probably go with "Mama Said Knock You Out," LL Cool J, his big comeback album, and I think for my generation, I wasn't old enough to completely appreciate his prime, like his early prime, like what he was doing, during like 86 or when he dropped 85, 86,
Dropped 85.
85, right? So, I mean, I was only 5. I wasn't, but Mama Said Knock You Out, man, hell yeah. So I think that's a very dope way to represent Queens. And, my favorite is going to be my favorite. That's Midnight Marauders, same as Vern, but yo, my favorite is my favorite. I can't pick a second favorite, yo.
Right.
But you already know, man, representing Tribe, man. That's an album I could play any time, and still feel that joy, what I mean?
Yep.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. Porsche, we in the BX. What are you picking for the Bronx?
Okay, for the Bronx, I think sort of the representation would be Big Pun, Capital Punishment. But you guys know how I feel about that album. I think you should take 11 skits off of there so that it's like digestible, because it's exhaustive with the track list. But I love Pun, and I do like that album, but I just it's a little bit too many skits in it. But I do think that that's a good representation of the Bronx. I think Pun did. I mean, while we had Pun, he was repping Bronx so hard and really putting it on the map, even though you would say that it was on the map. It's almost like he repopularized it in a way, with just, how all over the place he was. He was doing collabs with like Joe and, Fat Joe and all these things. So yeah, Big Pun is definitely a representation of the Bronx, but my favorite album out of the Bronx is going to come from Slick Rick. So I love Slick Rick. I love his storytelling. I love his, intonation, the delivery. He's very unique. I think you guys know I love the unique delivery and the flow. And of course, the storytelling is just brilliant. So for me, Great Adventures of Slick Rick is my favorite.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. Amir, what you got out the BX, man?
Some messages before my time to put me on some of these records. I got it as a disclaimer, so don't shoot me up if I don't know the records.
Right.
I will say this: Jealous One still envy.
Yeah.
The production on that, it was a joint on there. I remember. Drugs is the key to success. That shit.
Primo remix.
To me, that keep it a buck. At one point was top 3 in the BX, and because of my proximity to BX, I saw that shit on them road action. So I'm gonna give Jealous One still envy. I don't think he ever made an album that was tougher than that.
Yeah, yeah.
Personally,
Yeah.
It was never that close to the concrete ever again in his career, in my opinion, which is subjective.
Right.
Now, if I'm gonna talk about a pillar album from the Bronx that I don't have every record, but I know one song that when I heard it, my sister put me onto it years after, and I went and wrote down the lyrics. Was KRS-One. I think Criminal Philosophy was on it.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was the first record I saw where I wanted to dress like a drug dealer. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm a kid to the buck.
Nah.
Certain rappers, I saw them, I'm like, fuck that. That's the kind of shit. I need to dress like a drug dealer. This is what happened. I remember somebody in the video had on this leather jacket with this mint reeds, man. That was the first time I seen them shits in the video. The Jordans. And he had the long print.
He had the Jordan 3s on.
I thought, this is crazy. And I remember this kid by the project, dude named had them shits on, and it just mentally scarred me. Certain outfits, I'm like, oh, now I got to be like this. I need to understand what's happening. My philosophy criminal did that album, so I went back and checked the whole album. Incredible. But I'm gonna give Jealous One still envy because I was closer to that, right? So and listening to it because I seen those pieces live and in the flesh. So that's my 2 picks from the Bronx.
Right. The crazy thing about Just One Still Envy, we did a show about MCs who stepped their rap game up, and Joe stepped his game up big time on that. To go from the first Fat Joe album to Just One Still Envy, like that's one of them to me, like them Fife from People's Instinctives, the Low End Theory. That's one of those Malik B's from Do You Want More to Philadelphia, where you just step your pen game up. Incredible. So yeah, Just One Still Envy is dope. My favorite, and what reps the Bronx for me, is Criminal Minded right there. I mean, South Bronx. I mean, there's no way in the world that I can even think about the Bronx without thinking about KRS, the Bridge Wars. It's called Boogie Down Productions, the Boogie Down Bronx. Like, this is 86. I'm 12. Like I said, this is probably the album I probably played the most out of any album of any genre ever, from breaking tapes popping to vinyl scratching to this is probably my 3rd CD of this. Like, this is probably the album I played the most. So this is what's going to represent the BX for me and also be my favorite album out the BX. Rec, what you got for the Bronx, man?
So if I'm repping the Bronx, I'm going with I was gonna say somebody else. I'm going with KRS-One, man. Return to the Boom Bap. I'm going with Return to the Boom Bap. What was that? Sophomore year of high school? Man, we used to run down the hallway.
Yeah, it's like 93.
Going crazy with that joint. So I mean, that album was crazy for me. There may be one skip on that joint. And that's really it. I think him and Primo did a good job as far as just collaboration. And I wish we would have got another album from those two around that time period, but things happen. If I'm picking an album that's gonna that's my favorite though, Beat Nuts, Intoxicated Demons, EP.
Well, they out of Queens. They from Queens.
They are from Queens.
Oh,
but they had a heavy Bronx presence. You was in the city, you knew.
Yeah.
Even though they rep Corona. Yes, they rep Corona. But they was in the Bronx.
Queens, man.
They had a heavy Bronx presence. I'm still sticking with it.
Know what about?
I'm still sticking with it.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right, Burn, what you got out the BX, man?
All right, to represent the Bronx, I'm going Criminal Minded. It's enough said. My favorite out of the Bronx is By All Means Necessary.
Nice.
Yeah,
it brings back great memories. My first car. That whole album, man, and Part Time Suckers. I remember my mother. We was driving to Gary, and she was clowning the way he was rhyming on that. And one of the first times.
The album cover alone was crazy, man.
Yeah, one of the first times I got mad at my mother. Like, man, shut up! You don't know nothing about no rap. Trying to clown KRS-One, but By All Means Necessary. He had a couple of songs on there that he could have left off, like Nervous. But I was listening to it today. So yes, that album is still very dope.
And bro, just this insert right there with the BDP, the Ill Dapper Dan, leather joints and everything. Like, this dude KRS straight, crazy, man, crazy, Joe.
Eddie, what you? He should.
Would you say, man?
He should do those shirts as merch on sweatshirts, the BDP joint.
Yeah. This joint would be for people who ain't never seen it. Look at that. That's crazy. With Scott LaRock Jr. in the middle with the gold rope on. Like, that's crazy right there. That's dope. Eddie, what you got for the BX?
Yeah, man. In my mind, I don't think there's an album that represents the Bronx better than Criminal Minded to me. You know what I mean? Like, you just think of the songs that's on there, South Bronx, the Brazil, all that. And, KRS-One himself, just the embodiment of that. But a personal favorite that hasn't been mentioned has to be Don Cartagena by Fat Joe. And, I just love that album. And partially Fat Joe. I think Fat Joe had a very dope performance, but a lot of it was Big Pun, Big Pun's presence on that album and the way him and Fat Joe played against each other, and all the features as well. But I love the production on that. I love Pun and Fat Joe playing against each other, you know, I just thought it was really dope.
Right, no doubt. We going out to Long Island. Porsche, LI,
Woo,
what
woo,
reps LI, and then what's your favorite?
woo.
I got Public Enemy. It takes a nation of millions to hold us back, and that's my favorite. And I think that's the being one. Like, I think it's all of it. That is, to me, the best album, in my opinion. I think it's the most important album in hip hop, in my opinion. And it's just strictly subject matter, energy. It's just a lot of shedding a lot of light at the time on socioeconomic problems that is still relevant. This kind of checks the box on everything. So it's timeless, it's a classic, it's relevant. It was relevant then, it's relevant now. Like, it's just everything that you want in an album. And I think it just doesn't get better than that. And it's so incredibly important that hip hop has this sort of as a time capsule forever and ever, like, thankfully. So for me, that's my favorite. And I also think it's the one that reps it the best. So.
All right, no doubt. Amir, what you got for LI?
Y'all gonna roast me, man. I got Keith Murray, most beautiful thing in the world, man.
Wow.
Shit, I think
Nice.
for the
That's a dope
representative,
ass album.
I mean, here you go. I don't know any other rapper out of Central Islip. So, well, no Quesos from there. So, but yeah, that's a dope pick. I ain't mad at Keith Murray joint.
Yo,
Yeah,
Keith
he was
Murray
hard,
was
but I-
rapping his ass off on that, man.
You mythological niggas is comical.
Yeah. And then the thing is for a lot of people who may not know, if you wasn't around then, nobody was rapping like that. Like, I
No.
remember when I first heard The Most Beautifulest Thing. You know what I mean? And it was like, yo, he's on the Lexus. It's like, yo, nobody is rapping like Keith. You know what I mean? So that's Long Island all day, bro.
I think for me it was the kid I was surprised by the wordplay. I mean, I don't know if I used to write those raps down. My mother, I used to get in trouble for writing because I was just trying to understand. I wrote the lyrics down. I was trying to understand what happened. Keith Murray, that, and then he was grimy, but he was still fly. Like, you right. The first person I seen the video was from behind the ass of Chinese rapper. Was bugged out. That's gritty. It's crazy to me. He scarred me.
Yeah. Yo, Keith was a wild dude, man. Wild dude.
Razor blade shit. Oh, he was bugged out. Yeah.
I was just about to say the razor blade under the tongue and everything in the video was like, yo, this nigga, wow, man. Yo, crazy quick Keith Murray story. I'm 8889. Most Beautifulest Thing just came out. Friday, he's supposed to be in the studio. We supposed to interview him. It's 5:00. Production studio was booked. Everybody like, yo, who the fuck? Now, Keith is up here with his girl. Now, I'm from Philly. When a nigga got his girl with you, this the perfect time to try to play you in front of his girl. So niggas is like, yo, we got to tell Keith we got to wait a fucking hour. Who gonna tell this nigga? I was like, fuck it, I'll tell him. Like, yo, Keith, like, I'm thinking this nigga gonna wild out, throw shit, whatever. I'm like, yo, bro, the production studio was gonna be an hour. He was like, man, no problem. I can see a new source. And this nigga just kicked it with us for a whole hour. Just, you know what I mean? After the interview was over, played some beats for him. He freestyled over my beats for like an hour. Like, this nigga was crazy fucking cool. And I always say that in the 90s, from doing 889, from 93 to 2000, all the rappers who you thought would be assholes was cool as shit. All the rappers you thought would be cool as shit were fucking assholes. You know what I mean? I'm dead ass. Like, all them fucking Howard University fucking instant burning motherfuckers, they be the assholes, man. Like, you know what I mean? They the assholes, but these wild Brooklyn, Ghost and Ray came through. They shit, like, all the niggas who you think would be like on some wild out shit, coolest motherfuckers. Them motherfucking Howard University alumni motherfuckers, they was the ones that was always on some old bullshit, man. I'm just saying, they are. That whole incense burning, Howard University, peace, sky, love, yeah, all that shit.
My
they
queen.
were assholes. But yeah, so Keith is a dope pick. What's your favorite joint out of LI? What's your favorite album out of LI?
See, I'm torn because was album wise, word EPMD. I don't know every record, so I feel like I'm fronting. But is EPMD from LI?
Yeah,
Like, technically?
Yeah,
he's from
yeah.
LI. Yeah,
Strictly business, bro.
everything out of EPMD's
So
camp
as
is
far
LI.
okay, so I would have to go with, as far as setting the tone for Long Island, my cousin Yon. But the thing about it, I'm learning about these guys after their time was whack, but I still had to go back and do band research. EPMD's album that you got to chill shit out,
Yeah,
whatever. It was just they set the tone for Long Island hip hop and kind of made it like one of the 6 boroughs of New York City.
yep. True indeed. True indeed. Can't get mad at that. When I think of LI, the first album that always comes to mind is 3 Feet High and Rising, Daylight. You know what I mean? Again, this is just what I think of when I think of LI. You know, this is what I think of when I think of LI. But I'm with Porsche. My favorite album is Takes a Nation of Millions. You know what I mean? I just, for some reason, it doesn't. PE doesn't correlate with LI to me like that. Like, I don't know if Chuck didn't say it a lot, but it just, you know what I mean? Like, they're one of those groups that PE could have been from anywhere. They didn't, and I'm not trying to say they didn't rep
That's
LI.
true.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's true.
I'm just saying
Right.
that their message was so strong. They didn't, PE, really, Chuck was a grown ass man when It Takes a Nation came out. Like, I'm 12, Chuck like, so I don't even think Chuck is like, okay, Li, where's
Long
so
Island, where I got him wildin'. That's the
yeah,
only
like
thing
he
I
would
do.
say it, but it wasn't a stamp. You know, it's almost like somebody said Drez is from Queens. And I was like, you know what? I never even knew where Drez was from. Like, there are those groups that you just never know exactly where they're from. So, what were you saying, Amir?
Was Chuck D from Philly? I heard he's from Philly, right?
No. He's
Nah,
straight
Roosevelt, Long Island, yeah.
Roosevelt, Long Island, with Eddie Murphy, the Murphy crew, all of them.
Uh-huh.
They all went to high school together. So yeah, Chuck is straight out of LI, but he just didn't. It's not like on his chest like that. But Rec, what you got up for LI, man?
Dr. J's from Roosevelt too.
Yeah.
Yep.
For Long Island, business as usual, EPMD. To me,
Now
that's
you
their
gotta
best
get confused
album.
with the businesses. Which one is that? That's the
that
third.
is
That's
the
Gold
third
Digger?
album. That's I'm Mad, Hardcore, Rampage,
Yeah.
Manslaughter,
Gold Digger.
Yes.
Jane 3, Mr. Bozak.
Yeah.
I think Gold Digger
Yes.
is on that.
Yeah, Gold Digger's on there.
To me, that is their best overall album. That's what I'm gonna run with. But personal favorite, what's the joint? Business Never Personal. That came out 92.
Yep, that was my freshman year at Morgan State.
That's probably
crossover.
That's probably my personal favorite. Probably resonate with me the most. I've been a fan of EPMD since I was 10, and still I'm a fan to this day. I still don't think that they get enough roses. I would love a biopic or a movie or shit. I'll take a fucking book at this point because the story is crazy.
Yeah.
But that's my pick as far as Long Island.
One thing about EPMD, who I don't think they get enough credit for, they've always done a perfect job of setting their albums off.
Yeah.
When you put in Strictly Business and you hear Strictly Business, it's like, oh shit. You put on the second album and you hear fucking So What You Saying, oh shit. You put in that third album and you hear I'm Mad, nigga. You put on the fourth album and hear Coming From the Boondocks, like them dudes always had the you just hit play. It's almost like watching a movie and that first scene just gets you. You like, oh shit.
They understood that.
It's a science to that, and we're gonna talk about that with 21 grams in a minute because
they definitely understood that.
The 25th hour, man, had me hooked from the beginning. As soon as I hit play on 21 grams, I was hooked. So we're gonna talk about how that came together. Vern, Long Island. I know this was hard for you because you hit me up about Long Island.
Yeah, man. But y'all helped me because y'all named some stuff, and I'm surprised nobody has said this one yet. So I'm gonna go. When I think about Long Island, it's got to be Daylight. Amityville, Resident. Long Island. So many times they reference Long Island. Maybe the Jericho Turnpike Bandit. And it's funny when I finally went to Long Island, and I knew somebody that lived on the Jericho Turnpike. I was like, okay, yeah. But my favorite album out of Long Island, Paid in Full.
Yeah.
I mean,
see, Paid in Full. If It Takes a Nation wasn't there, it would have been Paid in Full. But It Takes the Nation is like the big joker. That shit kind of like trumps everything.
And you guys don't let me add more to my number one. So
no, we won't let you
there
add.
you go.
And here's the reason what I did. I thought about the albums that I listened to the most.
Mhm.
I mean, I still listen to Paid in Full on a regular basis. Nation of Million, I mean, it's on my wall, so you know what I feel about it. But there's a certain mindset and a mood that I have to be in to listen to that. So yeah, I'm gonna go with De La for representing Long Island, and then Paid in Full as my favorite album off of Long Island.
All right, Eddie, what you got for us, bro?
I think representing got to be EPMD. So I mean, I'll just say I'll say Unfinished Business. You know, sort of thing, because I think basically all of their albums are getting named. You know what I mean, and as they should, because you could pick any one of those first four albums and represent Long Island. You know, to the fullest. Personal favorite is tough. I'm probably going Stakes is High by De La.
I had that. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Stellar.
That's a stacked album, man.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Amir's like, damn, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, man. I
There's
mean,
a lot of heat coming out that island, man.
Yo, again, we gonna go do another show about boroughs and the discographies coming out each borough, because people don't know that Long Island has some long discography.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know
man.
what I mean? There's a couple of boroughs that got heavy hitters, but they may have not. The discography may not be that long. You look at De La's discography, EPMD's discography, Eric B. and Rakim's discography, like Public Enemy's discography, like bro, you talk about some heavy hitters coming out of there. Grap would kill me if we don't talk about Upstate. If we're not talking about Yonkers, New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, Grap would kill me. There's no way I could even post this show and talk about
Portia would kill you.
Yeah, Portia would kill me first. Portia would kill me before we even got started.
I'm like, where
do
I go so that I can talk about Pete Rock?
If I didn't name Mount Vernon, I'd be talking about Philly, and you'd be like Troy. And I'd be like, but that's not from Philly. That's from Mount Vernon. Like, I know, Kill, but you didn't say Mount Vernon. So, Troy. I'd be like, and what about Atlanta? Portia would be like, Troy, Pete Rock is still smooth. So, there's no way we can do this without talking about the Vernonville, upstate New York, Yonkers, New Rochelle.
But Mount Vernon is not upstate. It's not.
For all intents and purposes on this show.
So where is, because Vernon is above the Bronx, right?
No, Vernon is
above the Bronx.
So the 914 is above the Bronx. It's not a borough. It's five boroughs to New York. Brooklyn, Queens,
we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Mount Vernon, you could be on one side of the street in the Bronx.
Right.
You can cross the street and be in Mount Vernon.
Yeah, Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon, Yonkers is like that. Mount Vernon is like that. That's why the proximity and the texture of the music bleeds that. Central Islip, right? Or Roosevelt in Long Island, you could be on like one side of the block. You could be in Queens. The next side of the block, you could be in there. When we say upstate is past Tappan Zee Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see what you're saying. See, for me,
good point.
Right.
They like you ain't correct that. I'm like, all right, cool. I gotta.
That's good. Now I will say this. Now I don't know how it is in New York. In Philly, because I live in uptown Philly, and if you cross the street, you in Cheltenham. If a Cheltenham nigga tried to say he was from Philly, nah, nigga, you not from Philly. Same thing out here in DMV. Same thing with you could be on one side of the street and you DC, the other side of the street, Maryland. Let a Maryland nigga try to say he from DC. DC niggas don't even claim Kevin Durant. They like, that nigga ain't from DC. That nigga's from Maryland. We don't even claim Kobe Bryant, maybe the greatest basketball player of all time. We like, that nigga's not from Philly. He's from fucking Lower Merion. That shit is not the crib. So I understand what you're saying, because I've never been to the Vernon. So I didn't realize that it was that close in proximity. I thought you really was going up. You know what I mean? So again, we could change that. So not upstate New York, but we just talking about New Rochelle, Yonkers, and Mount Vernon. So Thank you for clearing that up, Amir. Porsche, what do you got? I already know what you got, so it's a waste of time.
I wonder. Let me think.
You can
I don't
just tell me
care.
about.
I get to say it.
You know what? For shits and giggles, Porsche, what is your favorite album that's out of Mount Vernon? Go ahead, Porsche.
Be on an episode of 5B, and you guys don't put up all these freaking roadblocks for me to say Troy. I'm gonna say Mecca and the Soul Brother. Like the end. CL, Pete and CL. That's what it is for me. I think that is. I mean, you added Yonkers in there. I can't just dismiss DMX, but I think it's just for me. It's going to be Pete and CL. That album is just perfect in every possible way. CL Smooth to me is. I was about to call him CL Rock. That's how the chemistry is. Okay, like that's how dope their chemistry is. I just think that album is the perfect. Example of a producer and MC just meshing so well together. And not only did that happen on Mecca the Soul Brother, but it's also the main ingredient. So you just know that if Pete and CL just kept on going, they probably would have just knocked it out of the park. So for me, it's Mecca and the Soul Brother, and of course it's Troy. And if I could do the Vince McMahon strut, I would do it. Screaming out Troy, that's just me. So that's the one.
All right, no doubt. Amir, what is representing New Rochelle, Mount Vernon? I already know. I gotta ask the question. It's like I'm just the game show host. I gotta ask the question.
Yeah, we're gonna do the same thing with Amir. I wonder what you gonna say.
Right.
Well, see, if we're talking about Mount Vernon, we know what this is. You already know where my shit is gonna lie at. Let's say Mecca and the Soul Brother. Period. Right. And outside of Mount Vernon, if we're talking about New Rochelle, I'm going to say Brand Nubian because of what they represented. But as far as the two-man group, I'm going to say, my, the big bro, the dude, the Jedi teacher, the training mates, Pete, man. People don't know that I met Pete through CL Smooth. A lot of people don't know that. He introduced me to, I was on the dark side, and, he used to come see me. And I was at the barbershop one day, and he's like, oh, come to the joint, to Urban Plaza. They was doing the show with Roots, and the rest was like, over time, it's history. It's cut. That was my first introduction to these guys, man. My cousin, but I'm going to say Mac and the Soul Brother because I use that as a point of reference for everything that I do with him. Because there's nobody's voice to me that will ever sound better. Other people's voice may sound good with Pete Rock production, and it's a story behind how him and CL even linked. But that marriage between voice texture and tonality and soundscape of his beats was it's something that I strive for, but it can only be a mere in my strides to be and carve out my own space. But those are the big bros, and so I have two great examples of musical excellence that I can I tap into to learn from. They both have taught me in my career.
That's dope. That's
So
dope. Rec, what you got for Vernon, the Vernonville, Yonkers, and New Rochelle?
Am I picking one per?
You're picking one for those three.
Shit, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Put on your thinking cap.
It's like picking one. It's like picking one for like.
I know, bro. That's the hard part, man.
You ain't in no smorgasbord, man. You better.
We've been saying easy here with the top threes. We gotta make it harder.
Closed mouth don't get fed. I had to ask. All right, so if I'm going for the album that I'm just gonna introduce folk to, if I'm up that way, I already knew what Porsche was coming with, so I looked at a whole other situation. My issue is favorite and what am I giving? So I'm probably gonna give the Soul Survivor, Pete Rock, to somebody and say, hey, you need to listen to this. As a, you know what I'm saying, as the appetizer. As the chorus, I'm giving them New York's finest. Slept on album.
Very slept on album.
Hardcore slept on album. that's my favorite. That still gets replay for me. But those are the two that I'm going with from a standpoint of favorite and what I'm giving somebody to listen to for the 914.
You know what, Rec? I gotta send you this article, this old Remix magazine. I don't even know what year this is from, but it's up in here. You got the Pete breaking down how he made. That's why you can't judge a book by the cover. Look at the cover.
Hey, I read, so I wouldn't have missed it.
And this is him breaking down how he made New York's finest. All the gear he was using, everything like that. People don't know Young Guru engineered that album for Pete.
That's why it sounds like that.
Young Guru engineered that.
Yeah, send that to me, please. What you got it on PDF or something?
No, I'm scanning. Just PDF it to you.
My God.
You already know. Vern, what you got for the
Understand.
Vernon bill?
All right, to represent the Vernon, I'm going the main ingredient. That's Pete and CL and all their glory, bro. I mean, it's like I would liken it to Mecca and the Soul Brother is like senior year of high school. You know, you got a little job, you got some money, you're on the football team, but the main ingredient is second year of college, and you know, it's just splendid, man. But my favorite, I gotta go with Blue Funk, bro.
Yeah. Very dope album.
I mean, you got Primo, you got Pete, and you got Hev doing this thing.
Tony Dofat.
Dofat, yes. Can't forget Tony Dofat. You got Big, you know, bunch of niggas. And I love it. You know, we talked about this on the Hev episode. It was prophetic, man. At the end of that album, Hev said, when I'm over, when I'm done, when y'all don't want to listen to me no more, you gonna say that the nigga Heavy D was rough in his day. And we still saying it, Hev. We still saying it, bro. So yeah, I'm going Blue Funk.
Can't get mad at that. Eddie, what you got?
Yeah, man, I'm glad Vern mentioned Good Funk, because I was gonna mention it from general principle, if he didn't mention it, but my favorite is Mecca and the Soul Brother, but to recommend, man, I'll probably go with All Sold Out EP. It's a project that barely gets mentioned, but you know what I mean. You got iconic joints
on there.
The creators, yeah.
And Mecca and the Soul Brother, the song Mecca and
the Soul Brother, yeah. And they got the remix of that on the vinyl of Mecca and the Soul Brother. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that joint is dope, man. Every time, like, I got the CD, so every time I'm in the car, Gray wants me to throw that on. You know, my son is 6 years old, and he's asking for that.
That's dope. That's dope. For me, when I think of Mount Vernon, I think of Living Large, Heavy D, because I remember when I copped that album back in '87. I'm in eighth grade, yeah, 7th grade, 8th grade, and I'm like, yo, what the hell is Money Earning Mount Vernon? You know what I mean? I had never heard of that before. And then when they did the video just made it that much doper, because you got Salt and Pepper stopping at a gas station like, yo, we trying to get to Mount Vernon. So that was the first time I heard of the Vernonville. But then just like Porsche, I got to definitely go with the Main Ingredient as my favorite album out of the Vernonville. I feel like Main Ingredient, Mecca and the Soul Brother. I feel like Mecca and the Soul Brother, Main Ingredient are similar to the argument of what's better, Low End or Midnight Marauders. Like, those are the two albums I've always heard for 20 plus years argued about the most as which one is better. And I think that all four of them are 5 mics. It's just whichever one speaks to what. Usually when I realize it'll be a memory. Like maybe this was your senior, like Vern said, Low End was your senior year of high school. So it just holds a special place or whatever. But the Vernon piece is perfect to go into our guest today, Amir. Bruh, you and Pete right now got my favorite album of 2021. Now, let's be clear. In 2021, there have already been like 894 albums released in the past 7 months, bro. Like, there's a lot of heavy hitters. And for me personally, it's not even close. When I think Porsche sent me the link, or I heard it from Porsche, and I put it in, and bro, from, like I said, the first joint, the 25th Hour, man, I was hooked. And anybody who knows me, bro, there's 19 songs on here. Y'all know my cap is like 12. I lose my fucking brain when I see 19. Bruh, I listen to this album literally, no cap, every fucking day. You know what I mean? So first things first, bro. Who's Amxxr? Like, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm like, yo, who the fuck is Amxxr? Like, who's this Pete and Amxxr? Like, I've never heard of you. Tell us about Amxxr. Where you talked about AZ, you talked about CL introducing you and Pete. Tell us about you. What's your story?
Oh man, listen, man, I almost got emotional, man. Listen, man, I tell you this, bro. I'm a man, man. I was like the guy that sat by the door, man. Like, you know, for years, bro. I met I was born in New Rochelle, moved to Mount Vernon. I lived in VA for a second, came back to New York, and I was in Mount Vernon for like years, bro. So you know, my family's from Jamaica. I'm one of 22 kids by my father. My father's on some roster shit. You know, he was wilding. So Mount Vernon is a very rich Caribbean city. Everybody kind of knows each other. I lived on South Second and Fifth, and then I ended up moving to Hillside. Right. So when I moved to Hillside Avenue, they had already been famous and popped off. I'm like, yeah, lingering. Like, I'm seeing him pull up to his mother's house, Pete, you know, and shit like that. But I had known him through. I met everybody through CL and saw me at the barbershop, told me come down. Like I said, I ended up going to a show. I met Dio. He was managing AZ. From that point, you know, I kind of started looping around, but I was a kid. So, you know, it was, you talking about maybe 10, 11 years ago. And I just, you know, you would, if people paid attention, if people look back at pictures, you would see me in pictures with, probably with Eddie F. in the background. I was carrying Eddie F's records probably 10 years ago. As a kid, like Eddie would tell you that I didn't even know that Pete and CL was signing Eddie F on the main ingredient. So I didn't even know that he signed them. So I kind of learned the game from that route. So I met these guys, and I was in the military. I was outside, you know, for lack of a better word, and you know, I'm pretty much like a round-the-way A, man. You know, a typical round-the-way guy, man. That, you know, got a lot of siblings, a lot of cousins, a lot of stories, different places, different people will have a different lens on me. So, but like I said, man, if you want to talk about a man, like, just think about that dude, you be like, oh, I mean, like the dude that did some shit, you be like, a man from down the street, that's him. That's who I would be in your neighborhood. A man from down the block.
Right.
Oh shit. Because I'm not like, you know, yeah, that's probably how people describe it. A man, he was just around. He was around, and you know, and that's how things happen, man. So as far as my profile, man, there's layers to me. Like, you know, I ended up going to college, and I graduated school in 2015 from Fordham U. You know, I did a degree in computer science, master's in cybersecurity. And then ended up getting, I was fucking with Tommy Boy maybe 7, 8 years ago. Maybe longer than that, I think. That was my first deals with Tommy Boy, with Rosie Lopez signed me over there. And nothing really transpired out of the deal. Me and my brother, Success J, he was running with the money team. It was a lot of things. I was just around, shit was trying to hustle. Nothing was really sticking, but I just stayed on course, man, whatever, you know, that meant. You know, you lose steam and get steam back. You keep rocking, but I just stayed obedient, bro. Obedient to my to that voice inside of me, man. Just kept. And then last year, I put out an EP called Till Tomorrow, and like a week later, he hit me with like, "Yo, bro, do you want to come to True Soul?" And, you know, he knew me. We was already working and speaking and shit. And I was like, "Yeah, nigga." And that's how I said it. So, yeah, nigga.
Right. Now tell me this, bro. One of the things I love about it was it truly has that mixtape vibe to it. You know what I mean? The scratching.
Yeah.
God, man, I'm gonna go into 5 joints because Porsche will tell you me and my little sister are the polar opposites. She listens to lyrics first, beat second. I'm the total opposite. I listen to beats first, lyrics like 19th. Like the beat, I'm a producer, so that's all I hear. The thing that was dope about you is that there was so many quotables that I heard from you that I want to talk about in here, because it's funny when you say like you the around the way dude, because I'm like, when I listen to this, I feel like you're the type who could talk on different situations in different places. You know what I mean? Because there's political stuff on this album. There's joints for the shorties on this album. Like it's different. It's not just all one lane things. You know what I mean? So, but tell me this, man. One of the things I love is just Pete using different things, like 2 a.m. on Lafayette, using the same sample that Tribe used for the Chase. And then instead of saying you on point tip, it's like you in your bag A all the time. Pete, like, whose idea was that? For it's just like, we just gonna throw some samples on and we just gonna have fun with it. It seemed like y'all had fun with this album. How did that come together?
Absolutely had super fun, man. So, I mean, the album, you know, it's Pete, bro. Like, I mean, this is some funny shit. So he first beats, give me 11 beats. I went to the crib. You know, this is before I even sang to him. He's like, yo, I'm going to give you some beats, come by the crib. So I came by the crib. And the whole time, I'm not really understanding Pete's recording process. And y'all told me for this. Pete me 12 beats 5 years ago. I picked one and just kept rapping. Don't judge me. I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Right.
He said, pick a beat. He sent me 12 joints. I guess that he had picked out an album then for me to work with him, but I only used one record and I was recording with the Heatmakers. Long story. But always, you know, and so now I understood his process. You know, he gave me 11 beats. When Pete gives you production, the beats are never like usually not fully done. He gives you like skeletons. To us, they would be done. To him, he's doing some other shit. So I had to understand that process. When he gave me the beats, fuck it, go rhyme to these shits, give them back. He said, yo, take your time. I said, nah, I ain't taking my time. I'll get these back to you in 2 weeks. 17, 19 days later, I emailed him the records, 11 records. He said, all right, I'm going to send you some more. He sent me start sending me 2 to 3 packs twice a week. He was sending me 2 to 5 beats. I did 23 records for 21 grams. The original name was 80 Soul Boy. I was like, hell, we not naming it that. That shit sound crazy. We're going to do something, you know, we'll sit with it. And so the fun part of it was I realized he was doing the Mr. Miyagi shit. Let's keep it a buck. Those beats are not beats that I would have normally picked from if you listen to anything I did prior. So this is Pete Rock, Dr. Dre. You know, you're talking about guys who are Mount Rushmore producers. And I had to really go back into student mode and understand the gravity of what was happening, but still stay inside my bubble, because he looking at me like, little bro, because that's how he talked to me. It ain't crazy, but it's like, your little bro, come on, my nigga, I can do this shit, you know. It's tough love, but he believed in, you know, my penmanship. So with that record, for that record particular, he gave me the beat. I end up calling him, said, yo, could you send me a voice note and just say, I'm gonna send you the clip and you just send me your voice note back. So that was done over the phone. Him saying all the time,
wow.
Yeah, so that was done over the phone. I told him that idea because, like you said, the sample was from that. I just tried to figure out something, a level of familiarity with that particular chorus and something that would match the text of his voice. And I he shot it back, and I dumped it into Pro Tools, and we kept recording. But so then the other records was just the last 6 on that B side. I had done 13 records. Pete's exact words to me was this. I said, yeah, we finished, man. He said, no, the hell we not. He said, no, the hell we not. He said, nigga, Zach was, nigga, where them other 6 records I gave you? And this is FaceTime, so I can't look at him and shit. I'm like a deer in headlights, like, what you mean? I tried to play stupid, like, what you mean with 6 records? He said, nigga, he started naming the records off the top of his head. I said, all right, my bad. He said, nigga, you rhyme over all that shit. If I give you something, you just rhyme on this shit and send it back. Don't just rhyme on this shit. I got the rest. I felt this gravity come down on me, bro. It was weighted. I said, oh shit, the pressure. And I ended up doing those last 6 records, six joints off of that album in 18 hours. This joint.
Wow.
And he hit me back. He said, you did all this last night? I didn't even go to sleep, bro. I stayed up for 22, like 19, 20 hours. Make sure I got him back the records because I felt like we was approaching I didn't know it was a deadline, but in my head I'm like, you don't want to lose the opportunity. This is Pete Rock. You from the same town. He has to talk. He hasn't even dealt with an artist from here in 20 years. So don't be that guy. Don't be that story.
Right.
Understand who you're dealing with. Understand, the prestige of this. Understand weight of it. Understand the legacy that you're attached to. The conversations that you had with Eddie, the DOs of the town, the Graps. People that have watched me grow up. So it's like looking at your little cousin, little bro, and I feel like they groom you indirectly. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna call guys and they're like, yo, what Pete doing? He's like, yo, man, you better finish that shit. All right, so it was a ton of fun, man. It was definitely some pressure. Definitely was pressure. Don't think I was definitely under pressure recording that shit, but it was fun because when I would complete the records, he would be like, see, that, and that's how I felt to not drag it out. But it was definitely fun, for sure.
That's dope.
Pressure
That's dope.
But
And you feel it.
Yeah.
You feel it in the vibe of the mixtape. You feel that, and to me, that's one of the things that I love about it. I'm gonna chop it up about a couple more cities, but then I got 4 songs that I want to talk to you about in a specific verse you got in each 4, and you just kind of talk about where that came from.
Okay.
Porsche, we going to Jersey. What do you hear when you
Hold on, Kill.
Oh, my fault.
You left one borough out in New York.
Oh, Staten?
Yeah.
Oh,
You left
my
two.
fault.
You left 2 boroughs out:
What, Harlem?
Manhattan and Staten Island. Manhattan.
Well, for time consumption, I was gonna leave out Harlem. No disrespect to anybody. My wife is from Harlem. I'm not trying to disrespect Harlem.
Say
but
less.
Porsche, what you got for Staten Island?
Of course, I've got 36 Chambers for both my favorite and the representation of Staten Island. Yes, Only Built for Cuban Links is my favorite hip hop album of all time, but I think that 36 Chambers was the precursor to all of that. So for me, I got to give it to the OG, and thank God that there was no 50 Floods that ruined the beats to 36 Chambers, because we got it in all of its glory. I love that album. You guys know the story with my dad. I threatened to throw myself out of a car for that album. I love it. I love everything about it. So for me, it's my favorite, and it's the one that reps Staten the most for me. So
that's why I got you the rugs for people to watch the step kid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I tell people all the time, if you weren't willing to risk life and limb for hip hop, you don't love hip hop as much as I do. Not saying you don't love it, but you don't love it as much as I do. Porsche just said she was going to throw herself out of a car,
and I would have done it. I swear.
So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you all don't love hip hop, but if you did not take a risk to get on punishment, getting kicked out the house, Rel done said he done stole his car to go to a Biggie Smalls, record release party. If you did not do some shit to risk life and live for hip hop, you do not love this the way that I do. Amir, what you got out of Staten Island, my brother?
I'm only built for digital links type, man.
All right.
But you probably picked that already. Saw that. And I would go revert back to 36 Chambers. I think I picked up on like the vibe of Staten Island from Ghost and Ray, man.
Mm-hmm.
2 of my favorites. I'm saying, I don't have to explain. Y'all know what it is, man. It's Ghost
sure.
and Ray.
Yeah, no doubt. And for me, both favorite, and the thing that reps it the most for me is Only Built for Cuban Links. Like, I knew Wu was from Staten, but like Amir just said, especially Incarcerated Scarfaces, like through Incarcerated Scarfaces, Can It Be Also Simple and Ice Cream, I just felt like that was Staten Island, probably from the videos too. You know what I mean? Because when you see Ice Cream, when you see Cream, I know Cream is off of 36, but I meant only God, what did I just say? Can It Be Also? No, Ice Cream. I'm bugging. Ice Cream. Together. This is just my representative. My brain is slipping. Right. What do you got for Stat?
If I'm giving somebody something to listen for Staten, I'm with y'all, man. I'm giving them Only Built. I used to go out to Staten to go hoop during high school, man. We used to go out to Stapleton. One of my homeboys was from Stapleton, so it was dope to be on that side of the city, because most cats, unless you know people, you don't really go out there like that. We had some fun out there. I can't say it wasn't nothing crazy. I met Chuck D that day, man. Met Chuck D as a kid, man. He was like you said, how you said Keith Murray was cool as fuck. Chuck D was like, he was everything you would hope he would be if you met him. And we was just kids. We was teenagers, and he came, watched us hoop, and then we had a talent show. Some of the cats that I play with, they rapped at the time too. He sat there, chilled, wasn't on no BS, gave cats his manager's card. Like he was regular chill dude. Like he wasn't Chuck D. You know?
To me, that's the dopest thing when you meet your heroes and they just as dope as you think they will be. Vern, what you got out of Staten?
To represent Staten is 36 Chambers, but my favorite album out of Staten Island, you can't see it because of the light, but there you go. UMC's Fruits of Nature, bro. I love that album. Yeah. I still listen to that album regularly, man. It brings back great memories. So yeah, I'm going with the Fruits of Nature.
What you got, Rap?
My favorite is Jizza. Liquid Swords.
That's Brooklyn. That's Brooklyn for me.
Well, I mean,
he represents.
Hey, it's the same with the beat nuts. I let it fly.
That's
all right, good. Let them do that. Let them do that.
To me, it ain't where you from; it's where you at. Like Buster's Brooklyn, but all I know of Buster is Long Island.
Long Island.
I mean? But neither here nor there. Eddie, who you got for Staten?
Yeah, I think 36 is the best representation, and the favorite representing is Cuban Links. I mean, my favorite Wu album is Liquid Swords, but I look at it different because I feel like Jizza represents Brooklyn, but that's neither here or there, whatever. But I'll go with Cuban Links because I feel like RZA, like production wise, is leveled up on that album, like something fierce, man.
All right, no doubt. Porsche, what you got for Jersey?
Redman's What the Album. I love Redman. I have had Redman as part of my regular conversational favorite MCs for as long as I could remember. Well, I guess since he debuted. And it's his personality, it's his delivery, it's his ability to not take himself too seriously and be silly and all that on wax, and I just think he's just so dope. What the album for me, because it's the first one, I just think that one kind of stuck. So for me, Redman is Jersey. That's just who I think of. So I'm gonna go with what. Although I do have to say the first three albums, you cannot go wrong. I think Redman is one of the few in hip hop who has had a solid 3-album run. EPMD's another. So Redman.
All right, no doubt. Amir, who you got out of Jersey, bro?
Fugees.
Can't get mad at that joint.
Yeah,
because that screams Jersey. The Fuji screams Jersey. You know what I mean? That's dope. I'm like Porsche. I got Redman with the album this freshman year at Morgan for me, 92. I mean, just so many, just everybody playing this song. Every car that rolled by, every Jeep that rolled by, every dorm you went into, everybody was playing this album nonstop. So, and to me, again, if you was outside at this time, nobody was rhyming like Redman. Nobody. Like off that 30 PMD album, that rec name, what was it?
That was the joint where he was hitting them with the syllables.
Yeah, hardcore. Yeah, when I heard Red Dead, it was just like, yo, what the fuck? And then I heard Blow Your Mind, and then it just kept on going. So definitely Jers, Redman for Jers. Rec, another New Jersey representative. What you picking for your hometown?
Oh, man, Reggie Noble. Come on, man. Reggie Noble album is going to be There's a Dark Side.
Nice.
First album was crazy, but There's a Dark Side resonated a little bit more with me. I was in a different headspace. And then if I'm going to give somebody an album to listen to for Jersey, I'm probably gonna pull something from Poor Righteous Teachers. I'm gonna pull something from Poor Righteous Teachers, just to give them a little bit different landscape. Let them know that we can come from a whole bunch of different places.
That first PRT, a 5 mic classic to me, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Can't never go wrong with that. Vern, what you got out of Jersey?
I'm gonna go Naughty by Nature if I want you to get a representation of Jersey. And my favorite, I'm gonna say All Hail the Queen, man.
There you go. Can't never go wrong with Lie, because that thing was something kind of crazy. I was schooling Nate a lot the other day because you know, Vern, you know, being a father is like, yo, I realize I've missed the mark on a lot of things with music. Because she was like, Queen Latifah's a rapper, and I'm like, God damn, my sucker's a father. Like, yes, Queen Latifah's a fucking rapper. For God's sake, she's not an actress. She's a rapper first. So I just speak to that. But yeah, like Nate was really blown. Like, was she good? And I'm like, was she good? Like,
whoa.
Nate, go upstairs in the studio. Meet me in the studio, and I'm gonna teach you about Queen Latifah. Was she good? So dope pick. Eddie, what you got out of yours, man?
I think representation wise, I'll probably go with Muddy Waters by Redman, and but personal favorite might be the score, man. I feel like I go back to that album a lot. I mean, and even how they had what's the group with Rod Digger and them? The Outsiders, representing.
Outsiders.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a great album, man. That's a great album.
Yeah, and it stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Like listening to how many mics and Ready or Not, all them joints still sound
Cowboys.
just as now as
man.
20 years ago. Porsche, we on my side of things. Philadelphia. What are you pulling?
Philadelphia Half-Life, The
Yep.
Roots. That's my favorite album in their entire discography. I actually stopped listening to The Roots shortly after that drop.
You and I both.
If I'm being serious.
Wow.
And
You and I both.
honestly, I like that album more than any other because I feel like lyrically it was just a stronger album. Concerto of the Desperado is my favorite song in the entire discography of The Roots. I absolutely love everything about it. Listen, like Black Thought and Malik B are just great together, and they feed off of each other really well. You can't go wrong with Illadelph. I think that was when they really showed a different range of their abilities rapping wise, especially Malik B. And I think Illadelph is just it for me. It's my favorite. And to me, when I hear Philly, I immediately think of The Roots. And Tracy Lee, but The Roots. You know what I mean? So yeah.
You are a politician, boy. You are a politician.
She tried to slide that one up in there too. Just Trey Lee, but just the Roots.
I absolutely love Trey Lee. I mention Trey Lee all the time, but for me, like Philly, The Roots, yes, like it is what it is. So
all right, no doubt. Amir, what you got out of Philly, man?
Right now, and it's not a time-based answer. I'm going with Dreams and Nightmares, man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna keep it a buck. That Championship album by Meek was crazy.
I'm not mad at that. It had to grow on me. But it eventually did grow on me. That I really, and I had to go back home to really hear it. I had to really go back home because when you were that played everywhere. When the Eagles won the chip, that was everywhere. So it just took a while to grow on me because there was a lot of beat jacking that I couldn't get past in the beginning. At first, it was like, what's free, and I'm like, damn, y'all just really gun jack big for what's beat. But putting all that stuff to the side, I totally agree with you. That's a very, very dope album. I wish Meek would just rap and not do shit else because every time that nigga's trending, it's never for nothing positive. It's like,
take his phone away.
Yeah, like you have no friends, my nigga. Somebody needs to get you off social media like yesterday.
I mean, that's to me, not being from Philly. When I think of Philly, when I drive if I'm in Philly now, the Roots are one of my favorites. It's going to be between either Roots and Meek because I think they represent that core or what I've been sold is a core Philly.
Right. For me, I'm with the Roots with Illadelph, man. This album right here, to me, I feel like the Roots, and I've said this numerous times, that the Roots discography kind of follows Tribe's discography for me. You know what I mean? People's Instinctives came out. I was like, this is cool. I like Benita Applebum. It was some shit, but I'm not a fan. Same thing with the Roots. They came out with Do You Want More? I was like, it's a little light in the ass for me. Proceed, Silent Treatment. I like the shit, Mellow My Man. But then when Low End Theory came out, it was like, this is what I'm talking about. When Illadelph dropped, it was like, this is what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And then they come on with Things Fall Apart. Tribe goes on with things, Midnight Marauders. And then just after that, I felt like it went downhill. Porsche, I think you brought a great point up. Thought and Malik B were the perfect combination. And I felt like after Things Fall Apart, Malik leaving the group, to me was the equivalent of like if Fife left after midnight. Like it just wasn't the same for me. You know what I mean? And because the Roots have such a long discography, you have Roots fans who have never even heard this album. You have Roots fans that started becoming Roots fans with How I Got Over. So they don't understand the importance of Malik and those two together. And then I would probably say, I mean, if it's not Philadelphia, it's got to be The Becoming, because I don't know anybody who reps Philly more than Beanie Siegel. Like, this nigga's the Broad Street bully. Like, this nigga represents the essence. People don't know this about Philly. People in Philly wasn't feeling the Roots. They was like, yo, this shit's too soft. This live jazz shit. Like, again, that's that Howard alumni incense dread crowd. Like, Philly, that's not Philly. Like, so Beans and State Property and Freeway, like that was it. So when I think of a representative of the city, it's definitely the Broad Street Bully. To me, when Prime Siegel could fuck with anybody. Prime Siegel has been on tracks with Hove, who people say are the best MC ever, and gave Jay work. You know what I mean? This nigga single-handedly battled Yonkers damn near by his damn self. You know what I mean? So Prime Siegel is a problem. So that's for me. Rec, what you got out of Philly, man?
I'm going with the same. The album, Philadelphia Half-Life. Love the album. That joint was on many trips back and forth from Jersey to Virginia during college. So that album sticks. That's the album I'm giving to people. Favorite album though? Philadelphia Freeway. Man, I don't think that album had a filler. That joint is a banger from one to the end.
Yo, you still throw on What They Do. I mean, not What They Do. Even though What They Do is wrong. You throw that on right now, bro. People still. Freeway could be performing that song till he's 65.
Dog, y'all remember the
seen him do it
at the 76ers game?
At the Sixers game.
Yeah, the stadium. Rapping it word for word.
You know, and another thing about Free, who represents the city, that was the first time a lot of people seen the Philly Beard. You know what I mean? Like Jay said, gotta kill witnesses because Free Beard's sticking out. Like niggas really didn't know about the beards until Free went like that. You know what I mean? So that's a very dope pick, Rap. Vern, what about you, bro?
All right, I'm gonna go Half-Life as my favorite. But to represent Philly, that nigga Freeway, man, it's just something about him, man. Like when I want to spaz out, I put on Line 'Em Up and get on my drums. Man, the heckling conscious like a school bus. It wake early in the morning, bro. It's just an energy that Freeway exudes. And since Portia stuck one in, I'm gonna give a shout out to a time in my life, the Cross movement, man. Ambassador and Fanatic. Them boys, them boys came hard, man. You know, gospel rap. The Cross movement, but back off my politician soapbox. Freeway, Freeway, and Philadelphia Half-Life.
All right, and what about you?
Damn, man. Represent. I'm kind of between that Freeway and Philadelphia Half-Life to represent.
You know what? And I gotta salute you because when you picked me up out in L.A. I got in Eddie's car. He was like, I got Philadelphia Half-Life playing for you, bro. Like, he came to scoop me. He came to scoop me from the airport with the soundtrack playing. Like, yo, I got this playing for you.
That answers my question right there, man. I picked that. So, you know, that answered my question. That's what I chose to represent. I knew I had a Philly representative, you know what I mean, showing up. So I had to represent with Philadelphia. But y'all know my favorite Roots album is Things Fall Apart. That's one of my all-time favorite albums. You know,
great album.
It's like you know, like Kill always says, it's like the Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders things. I'm a Midnight Marauders guy, and I'm a Things Fall Apart guy. You know, I feel like those are the more complete as far as, you know, production and full out. I mean, yo, Philadelphia got the bangers though. I can't even front.
Now, like I said, man, it's like Low and Midnight. Like you can't go wrong with either one. But Ed, you got to cop this joint. This is the 25th anniversary box set vinyl joint. Like this joint it's like a 30-page booklet of just crazy stories of the Roots.
You know, it's crazy, man. I got it on vinyl. Like actually, my wife got on vinyl for a gift. She said she couldn't find the anniversary joint at the time, but it's like, yo,
Y'all got
if there's
Eddie
any
saying
I
vinyl,
said Jordan. I can't find the Jordan. Yo, in all
yo,
respect,
if
right
there's
here,
any, I got a cop twice. Yo, it might have to be this one.
and anything for right here, R.I.P. Malik B, one of the dopest MCs out of Philly to me. This was the heart and soul of the Roots. When you ask people, what's my favorite Roots song, is No Great Pretender, which is crazy. It's Malik B. So R.I.P. Malik B right there. People don't understand how important he was to the street credibility of the Roots. All right, let's go down to Burnstown, ATL. Porsche, what you got coming out of ATL?
It's got to be Aquemini. Outkast is to me just the full representation of Atlanta. And Aquemini's my favorite album, just off of everything, like from album art to the track list to just all of it. I love ATLians too. And Southern Playlistic, but to me, Aquemini also for nostalgic reasons. Like I was in Phoenix, Arizona. I remember that one. That's where I went to cop the joint. So yeah, I mean, it's Aquemini for me. Andre and Big Boy are just, they're also a very, very dope, duo. Their chemistry is great. I am not with these people who think Andre is like this much better. I think they're both equally dope. In their own way, they bring very different things to the table, and it's only because of their ability to mesh those two styles together that Outkast is the way that they are, and so kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like they just sort of have such an imprint on hip hop, and like made themselves last as long as they did. So for me, Aquemini is my favorite album out of Atlanta, and also a representation of Atlanta.
Imagine if you had 2-3 stacks inside in Outkast, how different that would be.
Or two big boys, like it would just be.
You need the yin and the yang.
Yes, you do.
Exactly.
That's what that is.
Exactly.
Amir, who you got out of Atlanta, bro?
Damn, she took it. And I was gonna say Aquemini because she lives in my lap alone. And just, he had a lot of records on there that was just crazy, man, production wise. And just that whole, I think it was like, I don't know, man. When I looked at them, they represent, I mean, aesthetically, they look totally different. And they represented two, I think, aspects of Atlanta. But it showed you how, even though aesthetically we look different, we rep together, we make great music. And I think that not only resonated with Atlanta audience, I think it represented with everybody who had a weird friend that they was cool with, and they do cool shit together. It's kind of like, I think that message that was nonverbal saying, I think I would equate Outkast. Yeah, Outkast has, sonically, I mean, and just records alone. So yeah.
When I think rapping, my fault. What you said?
And if I had to pick, you said I don't even know the name of Sci High's last album. No, it was called Power.
Dope on Sundays, man. Dope on Sundays. Hey man, would they let him out, please? Can they let him out of jail or wherever he is? Man? We need some Sci-Hi, bro.
Right. Let me explain something to you. No Dope on Sundays is a 5-mic album, period. Back and forth. We even did a show and I was like, if Sci-Hi is not the dopest MC right now, then who the fuck is? After I heard No Dope on Sundays, I was like, yo, I'm gonna just cut through all the bullshit. I know Royce, I know Conway. If Sci-Hi, No Dope on Sundays, oh my God, man. You talking
you know what, Gil? I just had an epiphany. Sci-Hi was always like behind the scenes, right? So I guess there was folks that was anticipating. Sci-Hi did what we expected Jay Electronica to do. Sci-Hi just came, all these years of no album, dropped a 5-mic album, and and then he dipped, right? But if Jay Electronica would have given us that 5-mic album, that where he shined, not Jay-Z shining on most of it, like everyone would have been satisfied. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sci-fi definitely did that.
Yo, man, that's a great call with Saha, because goddamn, I love that album. that thing is something kind of special. And the sad part is people haven't heard it. People watching, if you've never heard No Dope on Sunday, stop watching this right now and go watch. Go listen to this. Like that's how good it is.
Right.
To represent ATL, I'm always gonna go with ATLians,
Nice.
just because I happen to be living in Atlanta when this dropped, and to be in Atlanta when this dropped. When I talked about every car was playing Redman, let me explain to you, there was nothing else that drove by that was not playing this album. Plus, I've always loved Outkast artwork. Like, I mean, just the artwork is just incredible on this stuff. I mean,
is that the vinyl you picked up in LA?
No. This is the vinyl that Ed blessed me with the gift card from Christmas. I copped this.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like Porsche said, my favorite out of Atlanta is definitely going to be, Aquemini, one of my favorite albums of all time. So that's it. Both things is just nobody represents the A better than me than Outkast. So, but that's just me. Rec, who you got for Atlanta?
I'm a little different, man. Representing Atlanta, I'm going with Southern Playalistic. I think the stripped down sound.
Yeah, you know what? That is a good pick. That is a good pick.
That stripped down initial that for me, I need, like, when I go down south, I need to hear somebody trunk rattling. You know what I'm saying? Like, that for me represents that. But my favorite is ATLians. That's my favorite.
Thank y'all.
All right. Bird, this is your city, man. What reps you? You tell us what reps your city.
All right. So my favorite Outkast album is right on my wall, Southern Playalistic. As Rex said, man, when it's nice outside, I open the sunroof and put on Southern Playalistic, man. It's just a feeling, and then y'all already know my feelings about it. We went to the dungeon before they were signed, and Rico was playing this song by this little group and invited us to the showcase with LA. So, but I'm gonna tell you what I would say represents Atlanta in a whole different way is soul food, man.
Goody Mob.
Yeah. Goody Mob, bro. I mean, the name references, it was a line at the beautiful restaurant. JJ's Rib Shack was packed too. Bankhead Seafood, the Swats, Chapel Forest, Wichita Drive, all those things, man, is just name checking Atlanta, man. So I mean, their amalgamation. That's why we love the Dungeon family, because they are us, bro. And so I'm gonna go Southern Playalistic and Soul Food.
Yeah, that's a dope thing, bro. I didn't know what a package store was till I came to Atlanta. I be listening to the package stores closed. Okay, my day is ruined, and I ain't even know what the hell that was until I moved to Atlanta. Eddie, what you got for ATL, man?
Yeah, so to represent, I'm going with ATLians, man. I remember, like, first time me and my cousin heard Elevators, and it sounded like nothing we ever heard before. We're like, yo, what the hell is that? You know what I mean? And we were like totally immersed. And then, fast forward, I told this story, I think, on the last episode, but, me going into the Marines and being around people from all over, and, it was Aquemini that and Aquemini is my favorite, but Aquemini, man, and that was that Scody Odie dope. Scody Odie dope, like that was another one that sounded like nothing else I ever heard before.
Yeah.
And it's Outkast constantly does that to me, because
when if you can play that shit on the trombone,
man, please.
I was about to say, nigga.
My wife would come in here and wrap this thing around my head, man. She sleep.
Outkast constantly coming out with stuff I nenever heard, because then when they came out with Bombs Over Baghdad, it was like the same kind of feeling, you know what I mean? So they always innovating, man.
Can I please say, man, a popular podcast host keeps saying that Bombs Over Baghdad is a ode to drum and bass from London. Man, would you please stop with that, sir?
I understand.
Would you please, man? That's an ode to 808 Miami bass. Atlanta booty shake stuff, man. Stop with that stuff. Okay, my bad.
All right, back to Amxxr for a second. Yo, I want to talk about some of these bars. So you got a joint on here called Bully Rap, right? And your line is,
Yes,
the economy be robbing me since I've been paying taxes. Looking at my check like, damn, I'm only getting paid a fraction. To make matters worse, I'm supposed to save a portion of it. And thinking to myself, how do I stash on a budget? Then at the end of the rhyme, you've got a skit with a bill collector calling you. Like, you know, your COVID extension has gone away. Like, yo, call us back. And then at the end of the skit, he's even like, yo, I hate this shit. I got to find another job. Where did that come from? Because, bro, I'm going to tell you this, bro. At 47, I love hip hop that I can relate to. Mm-hmm. I've had many conversations with student loan bill collectors over the years, to the point that I laugh at them niggas. I'm like, dog, I know you doing your job. Nigga, we both doing our job. Like, yo, bro, you know what this shit is like? Bro, you know what this shit is like? It's literally like that time that Poop and Bodie saw Carver at the movie theater and was like, yo, hey, yo, y'all go to the movies too? Oh, you do? This is what we gonna do. We sell drugs, they chase us. I'm like, nigga, I get it. You gotta call me to find out why I'm not paying my student loans. I'm gonna tell you some bullshit about why I'm not paying my student loans. Like, and you know, I be having people cracking up because I'm like, bro, I can't pay. You could threaten me whatever the fuck you desire. Like, whatever you want to, bad credit, cool, no problem. Just so all that to just say, bro, that, you know, thankfully, I'm not in that position anymore, but I understood that. What made you come up with those bars to kind of touch on? Because that's the hip hop that I want to hear at 47. I want to hear hip hop where I feel that this economy is robbing me since I've been paying taxes, looking at my check like, damn, I'm only getting paid a fraction. What spoke to you like that to write that?
It's gonna sound crazy, man. Gas P. I don't write, man. I just do every 2 to 4 bar sprints. So I think with him, sometimes I do 6 to 8. I may get lucky and get an 8 bar sprint out of but I haven't written a rhyme down in like 5 years. So everything you heard on 21 grams, I didn't write any of it. I wrote it, but I didn't write it like to paper. I recorded it like, I guess with one stream of consciousness is what they would call it. And in that moment, I was trying to beat, P. obscure but abstract, beautiful soundscapes to, and he always tell me to figure it out. He said, I know this beat is crazy. You got to figure it out. So that one of the moments I had to sit and with the beat and figure this shit out. So I think, and I got my friend to do the skit about collecting the bill during COVID, because I was watching the news, CNN, and it was like my man Skeet from Boston, John Skeet, and he I was like, yo, economy fucked up. I was just gonna CNN. I'm looking at Vice TV, and I was just trying to speak from a place of where we were at as a everyday U.S. citizen. Like, a lot of people lost their jobs. So damn, you get robbed in taxes. We know the taxation shit is crazy. And then they tax when they give you back your taxes. And then there was this whole spill about, why we even paying taxes. Then it's a whole shit about, I broke down the math. I said, fuck, man, if you working 12 months out of a year, you work 4 months out of a year to pay taxes. So you're giving your company 4 months out of your life free to technically pay taxes. So if I'm working the 12 months, 6, 7, when y'all motherfuckers almost 4.5, 5 months for free, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I said, damn, that's whack. So I guess that bar from the sub, I don't know, man. I just talking my shit, man. And it landed. I guess it landed. And I'm just thankful, But it definitely, I was really speaking from that. I was speaking from that energy, I should say.
Right. All right, another joint. Ultra Gravity. You got Listen, Donald. Ain't got no time to play these politics. Listen, Donald, the whole damn world know you incompetent. Of course, speaking on Donald Trump. Where did that come from?
I be watching the news and shit, man. Now, I was watching that.
Well, you know what? That's a good point. That's a good point. And for MCs listening, maybe that's what y'all should do. Try watching the fucking news every now and then, and maybe there'll be something different to rap about.
Or read a book.
Yeah, God forbid, read a book, watch the news. It give you some more ideas. I'm sorry, man. Finish what you were going with that.
Nah, that's honest. Those are two of my resources, man. My two places. Order books. I may not read the whole shit, but I definitely got a ton of books, and I like watching documentaries and news and shit and history channels type shit. I'm very big in almost like a history buff, but I'm not like a historian of sorts. But I'm definitely into that type of shit. I like dark science. I like the shit that you're not supposed to know, but it sound cool, know it, and I like whatever. So I think with the Donald line itself, around that time, it was around election season. He was doing all of his fuckery, and I'm like, the news give all this, and I'm like, listen, man, come on, everybody know you're incompetent. You know what I'm saying? You fucked this whole shit up. Not all of it. Some of it was fucked up before you got here as far as policy. I'm like, we got some I know that, and I just spoke to it in the moment. Allowed the energy to just pass through me, bro.
All right.
I have a very I guess a way of my particular stance or posture with music is that when I say things, I'm never bigger. I come to the realization as an artist, you're never bigger than the message. You're just messenger. And at the point you think you're bigger than the shit you're saying, there's no room for growth anymore. You won't get blessed with new ideas. So I try to stay behind the message or the lyric, not in front of it. So yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. The next joint I got, no justice, no peace. You say we trading stocks, but not the kind on Wall Street. Black is the new orange, broke is the new boring. I pray for days where status is not important. Then Umi say, shine your light on the world, the good book. Never put swine before the pearls. So I think that stood out for me because you're dipping and diving through so many things. You're talking about the stocks, but not the kind on Wall Street. Black is the new orange, broke is the new boring. I think the reason that line spoke to me is just because, and here's a great example. Somebody just tagged us today in a thing about Lazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony saying something about the Migos, like let's battle. And the boy from Migos was like, let's battle with a money roll or whatever. And he's like, see, that's y'all motherfuckers' problem, nigga. It ain't about money. That ain't the battle. The battle is the skills. You know what I mean? So that made me think of that because it's just like, broke is the new boring. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, don't nobody want to be broke. So like, we always gotta put this facade on social media. And then I love how you tied into the next line. I pray for the days where status is not important because that's why people are acting like they're not broke on the timeline because they want the status. And then I love the whole Umi shine a light on the world, the good book, never put swine before the pearls, which is one of my favorite scriptures. Where did that line come from? And how did you enter? You got Black's New Orange from Netflix. You got this from over here. You quoting out the Bible. How did you tie all four of those things together like that?
Man, I'd be lying to you if I told you I know, man. I don't have an incense burning or weed enhanced answer for you. I will say that it's just like I said, man. I allow to be used by the energy in the room, bro, and just go with it. And,
well, let me say this, bro. Your energy is dope because it is definitely, again, like I said about me and Porsche, I listen to the rock, especially with a Pete Rock project. I'm listening to whatever the rapper is, the 8th, 9th, 10th thing, because I'm just paying attention to the beat. So it's a testament to how dope you are that the lines are speaking to me very easily. Like, and I'm able to pour, like, as soon as you said you would do the show, I'm like, oh, bet I need to ask about this line and this line and this line and how this came together. And I just love hearing about the process because I've been working with MCs for years and I don't think I've ever heard that kind of process where you do 2 to 4 bars at a time. Like, that's something totally new, but the shit works, obviously. You know what I mean? So
yeah. The trick is I don't want to give too many of my secrets away, but if you listen,
don't tell them the secret. Don't tell them the secret to the salmon sauce. Like, don't give a secret.
But I'll say this though, man. It's just honestly just having fun and being present and allowing yourself to be used by the energy of your life story, bro. Like I mean, most of the stuff that I'm able to regurgitate, I came into contact with it at some point, right? Mm-hmm. So I think with the never throw swine before the pearls is definitely scripture. And people know what that means. You don't put. I take it as my particular interpretation of that. Don't put your good energy, and where I try to put it, the good energy before things that are not going to serve you back. It's just ridiculous to do that. So never put Swan before. My Umi says, "Shine your light on the world." Most Def, one of my favorite records. So I hope from that energy. I'm not super spiritual, but it's saying what I was thinking. So I took that line and I was kind of disconnected, and it just Umi says that one of the flyest singing records of all time to me. Like the motherfucker was shit made the Jordan commercial hot. Hotter. It was like I couldn't believe he sung this shit. And it's just fire. So I said, and I just connected it. And I guess if I had to really think about it, most of us, my grandmother and, my mother, they spiritual people. My Umi said, "Shine Light on the World," a good book. And I thought about her because she's always quoting me Bible scripture. So I guess the connection would be between my grandmother and her Bible quotes. And I kind of put it together. I guess I was reading it like that. Yeah.
All right. No doubt. Go ahead, Vern.
I can see why that is dope that you do it in 4-bar excerpts, because it doesn't tie you in as much. It keeps you free to what I'm saying, add dopeness to it. That is very dope, man.
And the last joint I got is a joint you got called the Guru. You got Black Fist in the Sky, so we can settle scores, because I wasn't thought about when you was making laws. My destiny manifested. Gotta know the past so you can understand the present. Rights were never civil. Told Brian to dribble. Put us on the news like we the monkey in the middle. Like that line right there, I love that flow. Rights were never civil. Told Brian to dribble. Put us in the news like we the monkey in the middle. Like, again, I'm not gonna ask where it came from, but just to salute you, bro. Like, again, for me being a producer who don't really listen to the rappers till later on, especially with a nigga like P, this is a huge test. Like, this is a very, very dope album, bro. I know it's technically a mixtape, but I play this. Yeah, I play this like an album, and God forbid better. I listen to Better 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. I love that joint. I told my young boy, this is how you incorporate boom bap with the auto-tune dude singing the hook. Like, this is the meshing of how you can mesh the old and the new. This is the right way how to do that, because I absolutely love Better. Like, I listen to that all the it's crazy, because Better is the reason why we did the show a couple of weeks ago when we was talking about what artists from a decade could make music for another decade, because I was listening to Better, thought of Shaka Khan, put on Shaka. Shaka had me thinking, okay, Shaka was popping in the 70s, she was popping in the 80s, while wasn't other artists. So just to say, man, it's an incredible album. Vern, I know you and Eddie got a question. What you got, Vern?
Yeah. Did you say put us in a noose or put us in the news like a monkey in the middle?
Put us on the news.
News, okay, all right, because that could have been a double. All right, yeah, that's dope, bro.
Yeah. So I just wanted to salute the project. Like, for me, like my first time listening to it, and I think maybe it was a little bit of a Jedi mind trick, because it's kind of promoted as the mixtape, right? And so I'm listening to it. The songs are shorter, and so I didn't really think of it as an album. And now I listened to it again today, and just all of the different subject matter that you cover, all of the, like you talk about your stream of thoughts, talk about politics, talk about, things going on, with you and, different stuff. Like, you're covering so much, and it seems like a theme throughout it. So for me, it definitely is an album. And that's kind of a realization I just came through today. Like, and that was initially why I kind of compartmentalized projects in my mind. Like, all right, if it's a mixtape, I'll put here, but definitely an album, and definitely very, very dope, man. So salute to you and Pete.
Yeah, all right, Porsche, I know you gotta get ready to roll, right?
I got to get ready to go, but I just want to say one thing to Amir. I know in the last part when you were talking about the mixtape or album, you said that you felt the pressure working with Pete Rock, and on our show when we talked about the our favorite albums, obviously this one was one of mine as the number one shared spot with Sky Zoo's joint. And in that episode, I said that I feel like Pete Rock has his ear to the street. Like he's never going to partner with someone who will, kind of not do himself or his beats justice. And I think like that pressure is probably really good because it brings out the best in the MC. But I also think that, it's a testament to you, because I don't think Pete Rock would have reached out if you didn't have the capability to kind of take his beats to where they need to go. So I know we talk about, CL and Pete Rock being like the ultimate chemistry MC and producer, but I don't think you're that far off. I think, like, again, Pete Rock's one of my favorite producer of all time, and I just think that he seems to know exactly who to work with so that it kind of highlights them and highlights him. And I think that this was just an absolutely perfect representation of that chemistry. So again, like everyone said, salute to you. Thank you for I know MCs are always thanking us for the feedback, but like, thank you for your art. So I always tell them, I'm like, don't thank me, thank you. So I appreciate it, and hopefully there will be many more projects from you. So that's all, and then I'll leave. So thank you.
Well,
right,
thank
boys,
you.
we check you next week.
Soul coming.
That's what I want to get into before we dead this. Let's go through the rest of these cities real quick. Texas,
okay, bye, guys.
Rec, what do you? All right, Porsche. Next week, sis.
Yeah.
Rec, what are you hearing out of Texas? You was out in Houston for years. If you gotta give somebody to represent Texas, I didn't want to go Dallas, all that stuff. Just the state of Texas. What you got?
I'm going to the hometown, man. 3rd Ward, Scarface, Fix.
Okay,
Fix. That's where I'm going.
All right.
That's probably not a real representation from somebody that's from Houston. That's gonna be my second home, but that's for me. That's what I'm going with.
All right, Vern, what you got from out of Houston? Out of Texas.
Out of Texas, I'm finna see if I can sneak this in. If I can't, y'all call the flag.
Go ahead and throw the spade out there. Go ahead and cut. I know you already. I know you reneging, but go ahead. What you got?
The DOC is from Texas.
Yes, he is.
He is. Hey.
Yes, he is. Technicality.
I can't say nothing.
So with that being said, no one can do it better.
All right. No doubt. That's a good one. Eddie, what you got out of Texas?
Yo, I gotta go with this group that I think you have a comparison with Outkast, how we were talking about Andre and Big Boy, and that's UGK.
Yep. Yes, sir.
UGK with Pimp C and Bun B, they got that yin yang dynamic, and if they were both the same, they wouldn't be as dope as they were. So I think Riding Dirty is amazing. I think especially Bun B's rapping. Pimp C was always doing the same, but I feel like Bun B kind of leveled up, especially at joint Murder. I think
Murder's fine.
He went off, yo.
All right, no doubt. I got Ghetto Boys, We Can't Be Stopped, when my mom's playing tricks on me. That album cover to me was just bugged, with him being rushed to the hospital from shooting out his eye. That shit was crazy to me. Amir, what you got out of Texas, bro?
I'm gonna fast forward it, man. Honestly, bro, I'm gonna say Travis Scott right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see that.
Can't get mad at that one either, man.
Not at all. Travis Scott is good to me.
And after meeting him and after watching this documentary and the fiber of his person, it just made me more fan. Yeah.
That's dope. Totally forgot the Shy. Who you got out of Chicago?
Quick caveat: Amir, Don Toliver, that dude is crazy.
That's a fact.
Out the Shy, Common, Resurrection. I'm playing that album front to back for anybody that wants to talk about Chicago.
All right, Vern, what you got for Shy?
Today, I don't know, but
I'm gonna go B and College Dropout. One I would say Common is Shy. My favorite album out of Chicago is the College Dropout.
All right, Eddie, what you got?
My favorite is Like Water for Chocolate, but I have a monkey wrench in it because this is one that not a lot of people talk about. I think a good representation of Chicago is the Black Album by No ID. Very dope album, very slept on. No ID, producer. Got other Chicago artists, not just Common, but State to State is I feel like that's a classic joint right there, state to state.
I'm gonna check that out.
I think a lot of that got slept on because that dropped right after One Day It'll All Make Sense, and Relativity really didn't know how to push. Like No ID didn't have the name that he has now, of course, of working with Jay-Z and being Kanye's mentor. So I think Relativity really didn't know how to push it. You know what I mean? And then enough people didn't even ever read the liner notes of Common's album to even know who No ID was in the first place. So I think that's why that album gets slept on. Amir, who you got out of Chicago, brother?
Man, Vern took both of my joints, bro. I'm not even going front. But to add to the list, I'm gonna say Dog Twisted Fantasy was one of my favorite albums of Chicago.
Good pick.
For so many reasons that I don't even have to explain to this group of people. We know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
I'm with you, Rec. I'm Resurrection. Like whenever I think it's not my favorite album, but that just always like I think Resurrection was what made me. I could talk to somebody in Chicago about, yo, where Cabrini Green at, or what's this like? You know, that's why I used to miss when hip hop. You never have to be somewhere, but just listen to somebody's music. You can understand everything through their music and everything like that. We going to LA. What you got? What represents LA to you the most, man?
I talk about it every time we talk about the West Coast, man. The Chronic. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Not Dre Day, but what's the joint, man? It's got the P-Funk sample.
Swinged out, sweet cherry stop. Let you ride.
I had to reassess my radio mixes because I kept putting it in my damn radio mixes every freaking week. Like straight up, I had to be like, "Oh shit, I played this last week. I can't play this week." That's it, man.
Yeah.
The Chronic.
Right. Vern, what about you?
To represent LA, I'm going with Neighborhood Nip, man.
Okay.
Just for the love.
That's a good ass pick.
My favorite album, I'm gonna say To Pimp a Butterfly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Eddie, what you got, man?
Shoot, man. I may have to go Doggy Style for both. You know, when I think of LA, man, you know, Snoop, that flow, obviously he had Dre on the production. That's straight LA right there.
No doubt. Amir, what you got for LA, man?
I'm gonna name something different than everybody named to expand the palette here.
There you go.
He said, but I'm gonna say Crenshaw was not a mixtape. It was definitely an album, and I think that was a pivotal project for Nip. And he represented to me the core of what LA, the fiber of what a LA do, you know, with some sense would move like until his demise. But so I will go with Crenshaw.
Yeah.
Man, it's sad. It's sad that he gone, man. Dang.
Yeah. Nip is a damn good pick, bro. Because you know me, I was going easy with Dre, the Chronic. You know what I mean? But once you said Nip, it's like, yo, bro, when I be listening to Victory Lap, like it put LA, you can't listen to that and not feel like you in LA. Like when I was in LA, I was like, yo, Ev, you gotta take me over to the marathon. Like it was like I ain't never in my life want to go to fucking Crenshaw. Like there's never been no part of my time that I've been sitting there feeling like, God damn it, I want to go to Crenshaw. But just Nip's just embodied everything. You know what I mean? He embodied being from the streets. But I always told people I was a fan of Nip before the music just because of what I do in the hoods of DC with my teens and what he was doing in the hoods of Crenshaw with him. So I was a fan before I even heard the music. Just hearing about what he was doing in the neighborhood with STEM centers and everything like that. But that's a whole nother piece. Oakland. Rec, what you got coming out of Oakland, man? I think I know where Vern's going, but I'm gonna see if this surprises me. But Rec, what you got out of Oakland, man?
I'm going with my man I Am Sue. I'm going with the Young California mixtape. HBK Gang. It's a dope artist out of Oakland. They got all kind of artists out there, man. Their indie game is heavy.
You gotta school me to them. Who are these people?
Heartbreak Gang. His name is I Am Sue. He's been out going on 15 years. The cat is nice.
Okay.
The cat is nice. You can just pull him up on YouTube and just
And it's what I is how you just literally.
So it's I M
Uh-huh.
SU exclamation point.
All right.
He got so much stuff, man. You got to find what talks to you. I found the Young California mixtape, Kilt 2, and a couple other mixtapes that talk to me. So
You
just
said
go
the
through
Young
it.
California.
Yeah, Young California mixtape. It's a smooth, laid back, got a West Coast sound to it. It's got a good feel to it. I used to listen to that when I was up in Alaska. So it's a good situation.
I definitely check that out. Vern, who you got?
All right, my favorite album is Souls of Mischief, 93 Till Infinity.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And to represent Oakland, man, too short, bro. You already know Ty Shaw, man. That Born to Mac and Life is Too Short. Phew, I can't listen to Born to Mac no more, man. I went back and listened to the album, and I was blushing, man. I'm like, oh my god, was I listening to this? Phil Flam.
You gotta be careful of them albums, bro. You listen to that long enough, you come in the house, be beefing with wifey, and say some shit like, "Damn, did that come out of my mouth?" Like, damn, man, you know that.
Yeah,
that stuck on you, man. Eddie, what about you out the bay?
93 Till Infinity for both, man. I mean, just amazing album, man. Like complete, track 1 to track 13 or however, man. Yo, crazy, love it.
Amir, what you got out the bay?
I wanna say something different. I will to give them the Bay. They named everything I wanted to say already, but I know what I'm gonna say. I don't know if this group Div is from the Bay. But Pac Div had a mixtape years ago with Don Ken and DJ Drama, and that shit it changed my view of how they gave it up, and it was like the intro to that shit was gut. It hit me, and I'm like, I became an instantaneous fan of Pac Div because of that. I would say they represent that underground, grassroots feel. Like, they're an extension of what Souls of Mischief wanted to happen for their hip hop music.
Right, that's dope. For me, and y'all know I'm not even a big Too Short fan, but I'm always like, it ain't about what you a fan of. I think anything Oakland, I always think Too Short. Like, I can't think Oakland, and Too Short is not the first thing to come to mind. Not big on his discography, so I'm gonna just lean on whatever Vern said. Born to Mac. I'm gonna just lean that. I'm gonna just lean that way on that. But then my favorite is 93 Till Infinity. I mean, That's Where You Lost, 93 Till Infinity, two of my favorite hip hop songs ever. So that's that for the show. That's about where we're repping, everything like that. Amir, I heard through Pete posted something the other day that y'all are working on the album now. We got the mixtape, but y'all working on the album now.
Album done, man.
Oh, that's even better. Let me explain something to you, man. There's nothing I love hearing better than album done. I think that is the best, news. That's the second best news, the album coming out, because there are a lot of albums that done and that we still waiting 5-6 albums years for. So that's dope to hear that the album's done. What are we looking at a release date? Do we get it this year? Do we have a date yet? Anything like that?
Anticipated for this year. I think, initially, I think the initial aim was for August. I don't think that, if I had to use my senses, I don't think August is going to be a realistic date for Dope Boy Soul, because of what's happening with 21 grams. I think, but it's for a positive reason. 21 grams is still circulating, it's still building legs on it.
Right.
It's getting people familiarized with, Pete's introduction of me, being on True Soul. But Dope Boy Soul been done for like 2 months, bro, and we just been, I'll say this though, it sounds nothing like, it's nothing remotely close to what you heard on that mixtape.
Okay.
This is Pete. This is Pete giving you his. And I'm saying what said. These are the beats he would have gave Nas, Kanye, or Jay. These are the beats on Dope Boy Soul. Yeah. These are the beats that he would have gave them. These are not like play beats. These are not loops. This is him getting in his bag, and joints on there, bro, and we did 29 records for Dope Boy Soul. And he did your favorite thing. He only picked 13, bro. So he heard you. He said, I'm only doing 13. He did 13 joints. And I'll give away this. He used that. Recording an album with him was a lot different than doing 21 grams. But it was but the big brother gun like this. He said it before we started recording. He said, "This ain't the mixtape. You know this ain't mixtape vibes. You have to. This is serious now." So we got in there, me, him, and Jamie Stout, and it was a blessing, bro. Grap heard some of the joints. Dope Boy Soul. The production on that is apples and oranges between 21 grams and Dope Boy Soul, because they were definitely actually crafted. We left 16 records on the cutting floor, and we picked 13 out of 20, a batch of 29. Yeah.
So what's up, Vern?
So wait a minute, Amir. If I understand you correctly, arguably the greatest producer in hip hop and a spitter like yourself didn't just take the first 10 songs y'all recorded and just make an album. You know, everything. What they still do that in hip hop?
It's crazy, bro. We were just talking about how the process of the great thing of the 90s was you record 30 songs, you pick the best 14. Some of the other joints may make the soundtrack here and there. You know what I mean? Different things like that. So we're always talking about how, that's a lost art. So I think for everybody up there and everybody watching, that's a blessing to hear, because that means you're recording the way of the golden era of the 90s, where you don't, the other 14 songs may be dope. Maybe they don't fit the right vibe. Maybe we're going to hold this for something else. Maybe we're going to try.
He said exactly what he said.
Yep.
I'm in there getting emotional. Like, nah, this shit crazy. He like, yo, calm down, bro. We're going to use that, but not. Trust, he said, I know what I'm doing. I said, I know, but this shit is fire. But it was, I fought for one record on there. I'm not serious. It was one record on there that I damn had tears. Like, bro, please don't do this to me, man. Let me get this off. This one is crazy. Yo, bro, I'm looking at him like, he looking at Jamie like, you think this shit crazy? I miss, but he said, all right, this your album. I'm like, listen, trust me, this shit crazy. His man, like, I ain't produced it. I ain't finished. He said, I didn't produce it like I wanted to, is what he said. I said, bro, this shit is complete. What are you talking about? Don't over. Right. And this is, imagine you taking a stand against Pete Rock. Like, it wasn't. It was kind of like a little brother moment. Like, come on, bro, you doing? Come on, let me. This shit is fire. And he was like, all right. They ended up playing that shit one day. For the Soul Brothers, and when that record came on, everybody's face did the. And I just looked at him. And he
said, right.
And you did like Jordan on him.
Right.
I was the face like I told you that shit was crazy, and it when you hear it, it's raw. Pete, that shit. He didn't think it was the beat. I thought it was. I fought for that one. That was one record I fought for. I was like, bro, it was I had to. Then I said, bro, please come on. 2-3 days I asked him, like, bro, you not gonna use this one? This shit crazy.
Right.
Nah, we got. I'm like, I kept looking at him. He went home, probably thought about it, like, the man's fucking crazy. I came back to the studio. I probably had the puppy face, like, yo, this shit crazy, nigga. This one record was crazy. And he just like, no, yeah, we gonna use it. I said, all right, fuck yes. I was like,
yo.
And then when people heard it,
here's the dope part. I can't wait to hear the album and try to figure out
which one it is.
What's the one, like, it hit you like, nigga, was it that? And like, yo, I'd have let this shit I'd have let this shit live for a good month. I think it's number 4. I think it's 13. You know what I mean? Like, so that's gonna be dope to figure this out. For people listening, why I'm even more excited about this album, people don't know Jeremy Staub is Pete's engineer that goes all the way back to Mac and the Soul Brother, main ingredient. Huge piece of that sound. People don't understand how much your engineer plays a part in the music that you make. You had Jeremy, Preem had Eddie Sancho, Timbaland had, God, what was Timbaland's in there? Jimmy D, Guru was with Just Blaze. Like, all of our great producers had that engineer that just was like that's like the Phil Jackson with Tex Winters, like coming up with the triangle. Like, that's your assistant coach. You know how you get a new coach, they be like, it's good, but what's your coaching staff gonna look like? That engineer is like your assistant coach right there on the side. If you go to Doc Rivers chip in Boston, you talking about what's the coach? Thibodeau was Boston's defensive coach when they won the chip. So I'm excited to hear that. So I'm excited, one, because the album's coming. Two, because Pete is giving you the beats he would have gave Jay, Nas, and everybody else. Three, Jeremy Staub is in the picture. And four, I know you're going to bar that shit to death. So this shit has easily become one of my most anticipated albums for the rest of the year.
Hell yeah.
I'll say this to you, and I'll say this to you because Pete, I didn't know what happened. I just know I was rapping. We was in the car. He just, Pete, nigga, I gave you some crazy shit, right? Your shit is fire. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm trying to, like, not to go out. I'm in the bubble. I'm going to keep it a buck. I be in the bubble, bro. I don't even fucking barely. So the process, when I started recording with him, he said, whatever you're doing, do the same shit until we finish. I spoke to the same 5 people. I ate the same rotation of food. I didn't fuck with nobody outside of that shit until 35 days later when I finished. And even after I did it for so long, I didn't even fuck with anybody that wasn't a part of that creative process. But what it did lead me to, he said, bro, do not, whatever you're doing, just step and repeat. He said, everything you're doing, don't change, don't do no different shit. Don't try to talk different. Don't be different. Don't dress different. I need you to do that Peace, Beloved, Dope Boy Soul shit you be doing, and just be a man. If you do anything, of course, I was extremely nervous because you coming under the shadow of Mecca and the Soul Brother and the main ingredient, and there's going to automatically be a comparison between me and CL, right? Not knowing that I'm like little bro to both people. So I can't explain that on a record per se, but I do know that, like, there was a different gravity tugging at me. So I knew, and I ended up calling him, and so I expressed him that I was nervous. And he was like, yo, man, in the Pete fashion, fuck all that shit, man. You hot, rhyme over the beats, I got the rest. He said, you got it. It's like, fuck all that sensitive shit, man. I fucking signed you for a reason. Jump on the beats, I got the rest.
Right.
And I didn't have this dying appellation. It was like a big brother reinforcement of confidence, man, because I think us as men of color, man, and black and brown men, we need to do that a lot more. It was a fellowship recording these projects for them, man. I learned a lot from him, learned a lot from Jamie, and people don't know, Jamie had his hands in a lot of the Tribe Called Quest mixes. If you look at those records, you look at Jamie Styles' discography, from Omatic, he did The World Is Yours, he did a lot of shit for Trop. He did a lot. When I got in the studio with him one day without Pete, Jamie sat me down and gave me the pre-mixing Amxxr settings. He's like, look, man, the shit coming in hot. Let me show you how to get this shit together. Because in my head, I'm thinking I'm recording myself properly. He's like, no. I had to go get a new mic. There's a lot of shit that was happening when I got another computer, so I had to really get in alignment with the tier that they record at. Because if you're recording with different equipment, first step is me coming into alignment with the shit they were using too. So when I processed the vocals over, it just made for a more seamless process. I just started to learn the science of sound and they'll tell you, I write shit down when they speak to me. Even when y'all speak, I'm gonna take notes from my conversation or screenshot it on my phone, because you have to be a student of life in order to, to process art, man. And I learned from everybody on this panel. Some of the records y'all said, albums y'all was named a mental note, and I'm going to go back and listen to these projects to make sure I didn't miss any gems. So Dope Boy Soul is I guess represents that evolution of Mount Vernon sound, New York hip hop, and just hip hop in general, and in my own through my lens and through the guidance of one of the greatest producers of all time, bro.
No doubt, no doubt. And again, for people watching, 21 grams, like I said, and now y'all know I've been talking about this album before him, and y'all know I don't do that shit. People come on and I show, yo, I've been talking about this album before we started following each other, before I even knew who Amir was. It was like, yo, this shit crazy. Y'all need to get up on this. Even when we put the show out, man, niggas was like, yo, I ain't know Pete had nothing new out. I'm like, yo, fucking album of the year right here, for me at least. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, bro,
iTunes?
Now I don't think, is it on iTunes? It's just on SoundCloud, right? For right now.
That the trick was this, bro, and the cat ain't no secret. The samples on that shit they want to clear for.
Say no more. Yeah, I got you.
So we already knew we had the album coming. You understand? So
yeah.
It was kind of like we're gonna pour more energy into something we know is, gonna get them going. But the initial thing was why, we could take our resources and use it more for the push of the album as opposed to the mixtape. And then, if Pete puts you try to monetize some of those records. We wanted to put them on SoundCloud Spotify, Apple Music, and other distribution services, but you can't put them on there without monetizing them.
Right.
That I know of.
Right.
And so Pete Rock sampling Shaka Khan, they come, of course they're gonna come for his head because he's easily recognizable. So safe way to do it and the best way to do it to avoid turbulence was to just put it out the way we did. Yeah, thank you. I see Eddie right there. Yeah, so we put an audio.
I found it on the Audio Mac.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
So everybody out there who haven't heard it, trust me.
Yeah. And I thank you for that, man, because it definitely, let's be clear, it definitely shortened the reach because some people are too lazy to go on. But we figured that people who really are core will enjoy it and will help us cultivate more of a following for myself and build a community and find my tribe. Because it's one thing to come in on the code, but it's all other thing to stand up as a mayor, under the True Soul umbrella as well, and with his, like it's equivalent to a Dr. Dre stamp. You know what I'm saying? Like what he did with the Game, what he did with Snoop, what he did with Kendrick, etc. So
yeah. And stop yelling at me, man. I know I'm lazy, but I got it on SoundCloud, so I'm good now, man.
But seriously, Amir, I think again, just to give folk they flowers, man, it's a huge testament to you because for years I've always wondered why don't Pete go get another MC? You know what I mean? I've been screaming this for years. Like I don't understand why Pete Premier. I understand they have these legacy groups with Gangstar and Pete CL Smooth, and it's why I love the Prime Project that Royce and Primo did, and like kind of like Royce touched on what you said, like, no, I'm not here to replace Google. Like he even said that in one of his rhymes, because again, the people listening may look the same way you felt, like, damn, are people thinking I'm here to replace CL? And I love that about Royce saying that, like, nah, I'm not here to replace Google, but so I've always just wondered why Pete didn't get that. So when I heard this, it was like, yo, finally, like I've been wondering this for 10 years, like all the dope MCs in New York City and all over the world now, so for Pete to want to rock with you, bro, that's a testament to just how crazy you are and how dope you are right there. So, but, I'm sure you already know you're nice, but just wanted to salute you for that. You know what I mean?
Bro, always, I'm a student. Peter tell you, man, I'm in student mode 24 hours a day. And if like you think you good, you don't think, but I think it shortens your room for growth. It's like being in the gym. You think I'm in shape. Homeboy over there doing 100 push-ups. You just did 75 looking at your chest.
Right.
I'm trying to do 105 push-ups. I'm trying to, outwork them or work on different flows. Like I said, that's going to be like, I think the real, testament is going to be work ethic in the upcoming 6 to 12 months when people start to get acclimated to Dope Boy Soul and what peace below mean and shit like that, man. And like I said, I'm just here, I'm thankful.
Right, no doubt, no bro. Yo, where can people get at you? Where can they follow you? Where can they buy the album? I'm still trying to find a spot to buy the vinyl because when I go to True Soul, it's like pre-orders, but then it says like March or whatever. So I didn't know like where that is.
gotta update that, man. But if it's on, I'll send you the link. It's this company called Vinyl Index, VINYLINDEX. Vinyl Index is selling copies of the actual album, and you can find me, man, Instagram at MXXR, A.M.X.X.R. On Twitter, it's 25th Hour Man, number 2, the number 5, THOURMAN. Or just Google Amir AMXXR, bro, and P Rock. Yeah, and even if I got a couple of my website. It's peacebeloved.com, PACE beloved.com. And yeah, we working on stuff, man. I got some merch coming. I have some staple Peace Lover shirts coming. I don't know, man. I haven't had a hand. This is one of the hats here, actually. Shameless plug. But I have this one with the ED. So yeah, but this is just one. Yeah, this is just one of the joints, and then I have some shirts coming. I definitely get you one, bro. Get y'all some, man. When we get the load, and yeah, that's it, man. Just like I said, man. Dope Boy Soul on the way. True Soul Records. Shout out to my bro Pete, man. Jamie Stowe, my man G Weeks, Howie McDuffie, everybody, my man Brandon, everybody's been helping me. My man BLB, I got to shout out BLB. I shot 5 crazy videos for me in LA, man. Most people know him from his role of Young Thug, Future, and Gucci. But he's a good friend. He's a good friend of mine, and it's just crazy to see him come do hip hop videos. You know what I'm saying? So I think for people to see him shoot this kind of stuff versus what he shot with those guys is going to be interesting. Yeah, man. Shout out to the whole Mount Vernon, New Rochelle 9, the whole 914 New York City, man, and everywhere globally, man. They love good vibes, man. And I thank y'all guys, bro.
No doubt, no doubt. Eddie, where can they get at you, good brother?
On Twitter, you catch me at EddieD80. On Instagram, Freestyles, and my website, freestyles.com, where I promote independent hip hop. Yo, man, I know Pete is a big name, but I feel like I'm gonna write up something about this 21 grams because it's a project that not a lot of people are talking about yet. So I'll definitely do that.
All right, no doubt. Vern, where can they get at you when they trying to get a crib out in ATL?
Before they get the crib, they got to watch Apartment 5B and know that we sponsored by What's the Scenario.
There you go. Oh, God.
Sure.
One of these days, this is what happens when you get old.
Yeah.
You pray for something that you want your podcast to get sponsorship. You get sponsorship, then you forget to say the sponsorship. That's old. That's 47 years. What's the Scenario? Check it out. You'll definitely argue over this. SoWhatGames.com. Use promo code Apartment 5B. You get free shipping. It's a card game of battling MCs. Would you say, Amir?
Fire. That's fire.
Yeah, and it's gonna start arguments. We've done shows.
It will.
And all we do is argue over some of this. But it's still a dope game. It's definitely gonna start dope conversation. Good looking for that alley-oop, Vern, too.
All right, no doubt. But Instagram at V the Lone Closer, and on Twitter VChandler10.
All right, DJ Rec One, where can they get at you, good brother?
I got to make sure I grab the game. Y'all just made me feel real lonely. Hey man, check me on Instagram at DJ Rec 1NE. Twitter is at DJ Rec 1. Thursdays you can catch me on K102 Tennessee Radio. Fridays and Saturdays catch me on Texas Fleet Radio from 4 to 5. That's it.
All right. No doubt. You already know this with me. Kill889, Twitter, IG, willmakebeatsfood.com. Willmatic is out. Me and Vegas' EP saluting his cousin, I'm bugging. Ill Will, the Queensbridge legend, Nas's best friend, all the Ill Will, rest in peace. That's Vegas' cousin. So this is an EP dedicated to Will's memory. All proceeds from any album sales, any merch, goes directly to Miss Versi, who, if you've ever listened to Nas' Second Childhood, the verse where he says never curse in front of Miss Versi, that's Ill Will's mother. That's Vegas' aunt. So all proceeds from this project will be going to her. Salute to everybody who's been showing us love on the project. This is probably our 5th album together, but this one is definitely getting the most love. So I appreciate everybody for that. And I'll check y'all next week, peoples.
Peace.